Let's go.
Okay. We're going.
Hey,
Shannon.
Hi, Jess. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is the first time in actually a while since we've like recorded in the morning and not in the evening or right after an episode where we're all crazed and like
So
been
just in the energy.
over our notes. Like I literally woke up this morning and I was like, all right, back to Bachelor. Like last night, whenever the episode was done and I had like done my notes and I finished posting on the Instagram, I was like, wow, I can go to bed. I didn't know what to do actually. So
Yeah. Well, we'll see how this format works because it might not be
I
a
mean, I love
terrible
a good morning.
idea.
I love a morning.
If this could
I
be
love a
like our
morning.
morning ritual on Tuesday, that could be okay.
Yes. But I don't mind I feel like sometimes every once in a while something happens. Like for the premiere, we were both so jazzed. Like we were both so hyped that we just had to do it. But this episode, like I could sit and let it marinate before waking up.
Especially considering this, I don't
But
want to
anyway,
say like not a lot happened this episode, but not a lot happened this episode.
yeah, and I'm gonna say it up front, just up front to get on out ahead. Matt is giving me nothing. He's giving me no energy. He's giving me like, okay, energy in the like, yes, he's like propped up and alive and existing and is like laughing and you know what I mean? But
yeah,
he's like, I guess, yeah, I don't know. We don't know him. But even apart from that, even like within the first date, within even Sarah's date, like I'm just not getting much energy from him. I don't think he knows what the fuck to do. And I think this is the downfall of having someone who's not been on the show before is that he just doesn't get it. Yeah. And I mean, hey, I'm gonna give it to him. It was his first episode or his first like date episode. And that's weird for a new bachelor and cool, benefit of the doubt. But nothing happened. So except for Victoria.
This was, and I think that you made a really good point with this being about him. We have no knowledge of him prior to this. So, like, where we could have given it a pass for other bachelors because we know their backstory, we've seen them on previous seasons. This episode, because it was such a showcase of like the women's personalities, it was blatantly and like glaringly obvious how little we actually know about Matt.
Yeah, and I'm starting to get kind of tired of only thinking of him as putting a cake in Tyler's face on TV, pouring a beer on himself, COVID parties.
I'm never not going to see that.
And I know that we're really trying hard to get him past that narrative.
No.
Not but like Bachelor Nation. Not us. We're like
we're not complicit in that nonsense. We know
like he was doing that shit before and after. I mean, he's been a little calmer after the show, but
I think once he saw the response, I think in real time, once he saw the response to the Dolphins game antics, where people were like, "Oh, I'm sorry, this is not cute when you're not 14 anymore." Like that's something that I would expect, like at a Friday Night Lights football game, like two kids that are just like dicking around in the bleachers. Like that's the type of shit that I would expect. Or like at a college tailgate, maybe.
Yeah, he and Tyler would be amazing characters on Friday Night Lights, actually.
Are they?
They really fit that vibe. Are they not pulled from that show?
Are they not loosely based on? I'm convinced that
they're
Tyler
like
Cameron saw like the movie or the show Friday Night Lights growing up and was like, "That's who I'm gonna be."
And he absolutely idolized Coach. Oh my god, what was his name? Coach? Was it Rick?
I have no.
I've seen it. I've literally seen it.
I feel like you've also lived fucking show. Growing up in Texas.
I've seen it. It was filmed in Austin. It was filmed where I'm from. Like it literally. I am it, but.
Shannon's like,
I don't need
to just
Coach Taylor. Coach Taylor. That's what his name was. How do I already have something stuck in my teeth? Anyway, so I'm like, what is breakfast? Anyway, but yeah, back to Friday Night Lights. Matt is giving me one note And I'm very happy to start knowing the women because I think that most of these women are fucking dope. But yeah, I don't know. I need more from Matt than I'm a Christian who loves my mom.
It's difficult for me, and maybe this is an unpopular opinion. I don't actually know. But okay, so for one, I think Matt James is a conventionally attractive man. I think that Matt James is handsome. I'm not trying to
Yeah,
shit on the way he looks.
100%.
However, if I saw Matt James walking down the street, would I look twice? I would not. Me personally. He would just keep walking. I wouldn't even bat an eye.
He's attractive for sure. Like, and I'll give that to him, and I'll give it to ABC. They got me on that back shot of him in the shower. I was like, okay, but also
he's a good man.
Yeah, we're here for it. But
do I think that he's the way that these women are reacting? I'm like,
I mean, what? If we think about it, these women have been in quarantine, so they haven't even seen a man. At least if they've been being, good and normal, they haven't seen a man in months. So at least been able to touch and stare at and ogle and flirt and just be all about it. So I understand that, but they are really leaning into it. I mean,
it seems like they're trying to make that, like you said, you need more from him than he is a Christian man who loves his mom. I need more from him in regards to I need to know that these women are feeling something other than how he looks, and maybe it's because I don't necessarily understand it.
Yeah, no, but either way, I'm tired. Okay, I'll give it the rest of this episode. Fine, first date episode. But if we keep harping on how hot he is this whole time, I'm gonna be like, all right, yes, all of the past bachelors have been hot. Yeah, they're all conventionally attractive men, and they've all been put on the show for some reason. Let's find out why. I don't. And meanwhile, he's pulling these stories from these women, trying to be tell me about your life, tell me about what's going on. And honestly, back to, I'm feeling maybe some Scorpio moon vibes, but also this episode was really hard for me because he was very Sagittarius. He's very I'm gonna say it. It's my broken record, guys. I'm sorry, but Matt James is literally the most fucking Sagittarius man I've ever seen. For everybody listening to this, I've just been on this on Twitter. People have been all over CoStar lately because CoStar, the founder of CoStar had an interview on one of the most popular astrology podcasts ever, and it kind of came out already that she definitely likes to send negative information out when you're having good transits to make you aware, and that's very weird
it's just
and strange, toxic. That's not a way to learn about astrology. So I recommend time passages.
That's the friend that tells you that they're just giving you tough love, but all they do is nitpick the way you look all night. And they're like, no, I'm just actually, and we'll come full circle to this because there's a proper way to do that. And I'm talking about the fact that that none of those women in the house like Victoria because they let her walk around with her bra showing all fucking night.
In that horrible, they let her, and the make, honestly, there was everything about Victoria's. We'll get there.
So we're getting ahead of ourselves. This is the type of shit that I like because I do like talking about the women and how the women interact with each other because I feel like that's kind of where our content thrives.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I'm very excited for us to just dive headfirst into this episode.
Yeah, it's I feel like we're gonna consistently be this whole the astrology situation. We are going to be about compatibility with Matt and then compatibility with each other.
Interactions with each other, and then
they fight with each other.
But that gives you super good or a base of knowledge to see how people are going to interact in paradise.
So much context, so much good shit. And unless Victoria pulls something heinous, that bitch will for sure be on Paradise. You fucking know it. And she's gonna have her intro on the beach. She's gonna be in the fucking tile sequence. She's gonna have the big royal look with the swimsuit on, and she's gonna be yes, glitter, eyeshadow, and nothing else. Which, hey, girl, I am about no makeup, okay? That is my literal constant state of being. However, if I were on The Bachelor, you fucking know I'd be putting on a full damn face, like for a rose ceremony. Like
high definition cameras scare the living.
That's exactly why. It's like, I mean, she's not thinking about stage. Like she's on a stage. Like she's not on a stage, but she's under stage lighting. She's on on camera, which is going to be HD on people's big ass TVs. Like compare, and it's not even comparing, and it's nothing to do with Victoria's looks. I think Victoria is beautiful. It is literally just looking at her versus looking at like Sarah Trott, who is striking and just as gorgeous, but is like full face, and she is camera ready, right?
We know
and she knows.
We know that Sarah Trott is carrying around at least 2 full packs of those oil blotting sheets and powder to keep herself matte as fuck on that camera.
That is like in her, it's like in her dress, like probably like
if you don't have, what are you doing if you don't keep those like Neutrogena oil?
You are fully losing out. Yeah. So Victoria, it's nothing to do with like, I will 100% stand the no makeup vibe for her, or at least the no full blown, I'm wearing a shitload of makeup. But like, girl, you're on TV and every single one of these women next to you is fucking beat. Their faces are on it. And
also though,
you're looking a little
heavy shade to the producers, because when I was filming my talking head interview, we sat there and we took a break 3 to 4 times to make sure that I was like matte and my hair wasn't frizzy and my headband was in the right place. Like my handler took care of me. You know that these bitches do not like Victoria.
Nope. And also, even so, like, there's no way a Bachelor producer is gonna be like, oh, honey, wait, really quick, before you have your meltdown on camera in my interview, let me just blot you really quick. You just look a little, no, like that would not happen.
Okay. You're right. I'm trying to think of like
any of these women. They need that eyelash to be askew. They need mascara.
Blotters. Come on.
Oh, well, Abigail's our future Bachelorette, of course.
So they've got her with the powder. There's some like Laura Mercier, like.
Yeah, literally, there's no one. Sure. There's no one that's not happening. But anyway, all right, let's fucking get into it, because we want to talk about these women enough, and we have to deal with Peloton product placement first. Did you catch that within the first 2.2 seconds of the episode? Matt is running.
They need to do their commercials and shit. But I am starting to get really irritated with ABC because, like, shout out to the Bachelor Data Instagram, but like we can see how much of the episode is made up of commercials, and if almost half of it is made of commercials, I do not also want your strategic product placement. I'm not going to buy a Peloton because Matt James is riding a Peloton. That's not going to be a thing that ever happens.
100%. 100%. Yeah. It's like we had a commercial every 0.5 seconds, like every about, it was like 5 minutes, at least 5 to 10 minutes, I feel like was each portion of the show. And it like, that shit flew. And that's kind of the problem with these early episodes too, is they're trying to capitalize off of the early, what they think are early viewers, because generally especially in shows like this, they are always prepped for the first 2 episodes to be people watching that probably won't continue and are watching and giving it airtime, you know what I mean? And so they have to funnel as much fucking ad space as they can into those first 2 episodes to pay for so many of the other episodes where they're going to have these long segments. But I'm thinking back to like the episode where Ivan talks about like Black Lives Matter stuff with Tayshia, and there were like 4 commercials in that episode. It was like
yes, I feel like we actually made
very different. And I honestly wonder now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if that's because of the Black Lives Matter conversation happening in that episode, and they were like, we're not gonna have our advertisers don't want to be on something like that. Our advertisers maybe have clauses or something where they're like, we only want to be in the first 3. I don't know, something along those lines. But I could easily see like something, any of these companies just being like, hey, like we're all good, but like don't put us on the episode where they're talking all about Black Lives Matter and they're talking all about this, and like fair maybe, but anyway. I
just sent you a text, first of all.
Oh.
Which is not imperative to this. But I know a girl who not only looks like Victoria, like in the face, and that's who I see every time I see Victoria on my screen, but she also has that like fake tan, like overly tanned, always fucking shiny.
Oh yeah, sorry. For a second I literally was like, wait, are you sending me pictures of Victoria?
She looks just fucking like her, right?
I literally was like, is this not just Victoria like on a wedding website? Like, I was like, this is the not. And I was like, was Victoria engaged? And then you were saying this is your friend. Oh my God. They are literally, are you
identical?
Are we sure?
I'm positive that that's not her. I'm positive.
Wow.
I'm
well,
sure, but fucking scary, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because I have, like, I also, like, first of all right.
Oh, and that girl's a Capricorn. I meant to tell you, that was going to be the first thing that I said. How did I not?
Thank you.
That girl's
because
also a Capricorn.
I was literally about to say that, first of all, Victoria looks like my mother when she was young, like almost identical, down to the brown, long hair. First of all, I'm not going to say every Capricorn has brown hair because it's just not true. But every Capricorn has fucking brown hair and like always looks like that. They look like that always, like Victoria, like, and not like Victoria, but that energy of where she has very strong features, like honestly, like, and I know that she works it, but and also my mom is just like Victoria in the fact that she does not wear makeup that much. Like, and when she does, it's about Victoria levels of makeup. It's a natural earth signs, love a natural look. And except for Taurus, which is like natural beauty beat up to shit, looking like amazing. This Capricorn vibe of like, I don't know. Victoria's entire look is just screams white girl Capricorn, and it is not even funny. Like every Capricorn white woman that I know, like it looks similar to Victoria, and that goes to Capricorn risings too. Like Capricorn Sun and Capricorn Rising give the look off like Victoria there. And it's like, I mean, okay, think of like Sandra Bullock in The Proposal or something like that, where it's like a power, like a trying to come off as very powerful. Victoria is trying to come off as powerful. Literally, I'm the queen, but also natural, also firm, also like, I know what the fuck I want, but we'll get there.
I was gonna say, once we get to Victoria,
Victoria triggers me. Like, she literally is my mother, and it's very stressful. The way watching Victoria argue, we'll get there. It's about it with Matt. So anyway, oh my God, I'm just too hyped for her. We got to get through Bree's date though, which was cute. But anyway, we start off with just like Matt running and Pelotoning and showering and doing Bachelor things, like talking about how he's getting, nervous. And then after that, we have ad for nemacolin, or as Sarah called it, nemacolin. Yeah, so after we get Matt's little, like gym tan laundry intro, except for it was, the gym, shower, ponder,
gym, GSP, shower, walk through the fog.
Literally gym, shower, ponder my romantic life. That's the true bachelor trio. So he does that, all that, and then distance. Yeah, right. We get our B-roll. But then we get then we get all the women. It's literally like it's so funny because they're filming this as if the women haven't been there yet, and they're like walking in. Ooh, nemacolin. So we get the nemacolin ad now, yes. Which is just that, like, Sarah, of course, gives us the producer fed line. It's a beautiful place to fall in love.
all of these fall leaves. Oh my God.
They are gorgeous. It's like a store. It's like a picture book. Or what did she say? She said something along that, but like the fall leaves are so perfect. It's a beautiful place to fall in love.
Maybe I'm like an asshole who takes that for granted, and because she grew up in Southern California, so I guess they don't really like have seasons. But I'm like, yeah, and in 3 weeks, all those leaves are gonna be gone, and it's gonna look like shit because the trees are all just gonna be like fucking bare, but there's not gonna be any snow on them.
Right, literally, they're gonna be.
It's gonna look honestly, like garbage.
It's gonna be drama by the time it's done. So the leaves will change with the emotional existence.
With the emotional vibe of the season. Love that. Poetic. So poetic.
Oh man. But so yeah, we get the Nemacolin ad. Beautiful. And then they have, it looks like they like walk into this like big sweet space that's like, it gives me like Love Island, like Real World. It's like the big house
communal
where they live
room.
And they all keep making sorority references, and it's very much like they design, and they obviously made the couch pillows were like a pinkish red. Like Nemacolin was like, all right, we're gonna like really fluff it up for the Bachelor people, or the producers set that place. But no matter what, like it was gorgeous and awesome. And seriously, these women do not even realize how much of a step up that is to the Bachelor mansion, which
everyone says, I mean, if you think about it, just like baseline, everyone that's been on the show comes off saying that the mansion is much more like decrepit than it looks. Like it looks like it's falling apart. And this is a maintained resort that has a groundskeeper. This is like a maintained building that is probably maintained world eons better than the Bachelor mansion. I can't even tell.
And they like it for sure. And it's just like, it's cleaned so much better. They talk about how they have roommates. So they're definitely in rooms that are like 2 queen beds. Like, you know what I mean? Like the classic hotel room. And it says, and it just seems one roommate, like, cause the way that Victoria and Marylynn's whole thing comes out later, it's like, they apparently only have one roommate. So it's like, that is way better already than the Bachelor mansion, where there's like bunk beds of four plus beds in a room. Like, no one is sleeping in a queen size double bed in a hotel room. Like, they probably I think they said something about, you know, taking away the remotes, and like they didn't have anything to do in those hotels. Yeah. Oh, you said that. So it's like, I bet you they did the same thing. Like they, you know, either removed the TVs entirely and just let them have the dresser space or whatever. But yeah, I basically, with the Victoria Marylynn thing, I need more roommate fueled drama. Let's fucking go.
It's slowly turning into the real world, and
it will
be.
The
reality TV lover in me is geeked. I can't fucking wait for my worlds to merge.
It's perfect. Like we are getting them all going crazy in one stir crazy place, which is most reality shows, instead of The Bachelor, where they're like, cool, now let's go here and here and here and here, where they're trying to they're making you crazy by lack of sleep and jet lag. But in this setting, you get crazy from drinking, from staying up all night, from and also from being in one place and having to be in the same space. But anyway, it's just giving me, I'm very intrigued by how this goes. And this is where Victoria starts, and she says, I'm not here to be in a frickin' sorority. Like almost exactly in that tone. So then we get Chris coming in being like, hey, wow, nice digs, right? Pretty great, cool. And then he says something that I took a note of. And he goes, where's my girl Abigail? He says, where's my girl? Where's my girl Abigail?
Could they love her anymore? Could they make it any more obvious that they're obsessed with her?
They are obsessed. They are ready for her to be Bachelorette. They told Matt to give her the first impression rose and kiss her first. They were like, we need this to happen. And even the way that he describes describes Abigail later during the rose ceremony, he's like, sorry, my cat is fucking spazzing. So he might just make a lot of random noises in the background. But anyway, he like describes Abigail as, oh, she's the sweetest girl I've ever met. And I'm like, you are not picking her. And we know why you're like, anyway. But so where's my girl Abigail? Oh, like, wow, first impression roast. She's like, yeah, haha. Like, what is she supposed to say here?
Here I am.
But then he tells us that we're gonna have a group date and 2 one-on-one dates, which is usually the reverse of week 1. Usually we get 2 group dates and 1 one-on-one. But nope, we decided to flip it, which I kind of was into as far as the plot went, like the way that they pushed the girls into all getting competitive and stuff. And so that means that not all girls will go on a date that week, which is kind of typical for most first weeks of the show. And this is when everyone starts saying the perfect line, time is everything. I need my time.
You know they've been fed that by producers, because if they genuinely all had felt that way from the get-go, there wouldn't have been so many people that were fighting for his time or like didn't get time with him after before the first rose ceremony. If there's ever a time to slack off, it's not at before the very first rose ceremony.
I'm really wondering how these edits go, because I saw Anna post on her Instagram that they had a conversation that wasn't even aired. So like, she posted it. It's like it didn't make the cut.
To send you.
Oh,
because there's something similar about someone else.
Yeah, because Anna says, me confronting Matt about dating other women, so rude, JK. Maybe if I did it would have made the cut. And it's literally a picture of them talking on her Instagram.
But like, shocker. Yeah. They didn't show us that.
And also, wow, she's an A+ promo. Everyone else is like posting their promotional pics, like for the episode, like, watch the show tonight, Bachelor on ABC at 8:00 or whatever. Meanwhile, Anna's post is with her with like eye masks and wine. Kind of bored. Anything good on TV tonight? Wrong answers only.
Anna's cute. Anna's quirky. I
Gemini. Like, she is the little air sign queen. Anyway, we'll get to her. But first date is a one-on-one. Oh wait, let me see.
And while you're looking at that, I'll say, this first date is a one-on-one between Matt and Bree, and the date card says, "Love is an adventure."
Interesting. Yes, love is an adventure, which, of course, the 2 Sagittarius stelliums get this date. I mean, the literal date card, love is an adventure. First of all, I will be a broken record by how much I talk about the Sagittarius archetypes of this whole season. But this first date is literally like, did someone who put the 2 people with the most Sagittariuses in their chart into one date? Like, it's wild to me. So, and I do now see what you sent me, and I do not believe this.
I don't know.
And I will tell you why when we get to her argument. Anyway, but where were we at? So yeah, we're on this date. Bree rocks. Chelsea, by the way, read this fucking date card. Did you note Chelsea's A fucking plus coat? She was rocking this fur white fluffy coat that was just like a casual coat over like a normal, like, she looks like, again, she is a model and looks like a model.
Tagline for this season is Chelsea looks stunning. Chelsea, best dressed.
So then when Bree reads the day card, she laughs nervously and goes, "I wore my worst outfit today."
Which, can I fucking tell you, I'm geeked at the fact that she was wearing like a little tiny slip dress and a leather jacket, which is not far off from what she wore to the dinner portion of her date. But that's a whole second thing. It's just like a little dress with a leather jacket. And I made a fucking note, Shannon, that 5 women this season literally have the same black leather jacket. And they won't stop wearing it.
They all shop at Pretty Little Thing and Revolve. Come on.
But the black leather jacket with all of the hardware is the new salmon jacket.
I was about to say, though, a black leather jacket for straight women is becoming the staple of fall. So of course they are which is why, and that's why too, we had matching dresses on night one, and why Chelsea will stay best dressed, because she came off the runway, bitch. She does not need those pretty little thing dresses. So Brie says but I thought it was so funny. She's like, I wore my worst outfit today. That's such a Sagittarius. Like, she literally, nothing she says is without she's the perfect definition of carefree. Like, everything she says is just like, yeah, whatever. Like, okay, like everything kind of just was like, yep, this is what it is. This is how it is. This is what's up. And she's very upfront, and I enjoy that about a Sagittarius. But at the same time too, like, Sagittariuses are fucking clowns. Like, they may not be like Matt and Brie on this date may not be looking like fucking clowns, but the end of that episode, like, they rolled that shit over and are like dragging each other through the mud, and Brie's like wiping her hands on his shirt, and it's just like, haha, fuck you. Like, they are clown shit together. So then Brie on the date, the first thing she says to Matt, and it seems to be a theme, is, I'm so tired. Aren't you exhausted? Girls, haven't you heard we don't talk about being tired on The Bachelor?
Yeah. Preface, if you're applying for the show, or if you're nominating someone for this show, make it known that you will not be sleeping.
Get your coffee in.
About it. You're about to get so many Instagram followers. Suck it the fuck up. You can
literally
sleep when you're home.
Sleep when you're dead, bitch. But so they walk up to these four-wheelers and act surprised, as if they didn't know what was happening. All of the women get funneled out of the house, or whatever. I'm just gonna call it the house because I don't know what to call it. Nemacolin, whatever place they're at. But they funnel out the back. Oh, you could tell that they were all pushed out there, and to watch them ride away on their ATVs.
It was so uncomfortable. I hated it.
And yeah, and then they are all jealous, and Victoria's like, she's not very good at it. Bitch, would you be? Getting an ATV started out of nowhere without any real direction, like, okay, bitch.
Like one of the first notes that I have about Victoria for this, and I'm like, the women are excited for Brie, which, like, I get. I've been excited for people that I don't like before, like, actively do not like, have had something good, and I'm like, that's fucking cool. Like, you can express, like how Jasenia says later, like, you can express joy for somebody and, like, still feel your fucking feelings. But as soon as Victoria went in, Shannon, I was like, I would hate her. We'll get to this. I'm getting ahead of me.
You're honestly not getting ahead of stuff, because this is where they transition. So they drive off the ATVs, and this is where Victoria starts the unravel. Like, and that's what's very interesting about Victoria and about this episode in general, is they weaved the Victoria narrative throughout the whole thing of she is like unraveling, like she's losing any kind of logic sense by the end of, and it's exactly what the producers want, because they're like, yeah, someone's going crazy already. But
did you notice, Shannon, that one of the first shots that we get of Victoria complaining,
she's talking to a producer,
and not one of the women, because clearly none of the women can stand her. But
and but hang on, so she says that she's not very good at it, and then this is when all the women come back inside, and they're all talking about Brie and being like, I'm so happy for her, blah blah blah. And Anna is like, I feel like she has a really good connection with him. Sarah's like, Victoria's like, ugh, I just wish, whatever, something on that date. But this is when Sarah's like, well, she got the first rose, so I think they have a very good connection. Sarah has watched this show. She knows the game. And this is when Victoria immediately jumps and says, I don't have that little friendship with Brie like y'all, because I didn't talk to her last night, but I just am not going to pretend to be happy for someone when I want what they have.
But then actively states that she's not jealous. And I'm like, you just fucking said.
Girl, she literally, I have it quoted immediately. I'm not jealous. I just want that.
Victoria,
I don't know jealousy. If you please someone pull out a fucking dictionary. First of all, people should bring a dictionary to The Bachelor.
The state or feeling of being jealous. Okay. Define jealous.
I hate when stop defining words with the same word.
Feeling or showing envy of someone or their achievements or advantages. Victoria, girl, you're jealous. You're jealous.
Like, that's what this is. So she's like, I don't have that little friendship with Brie. I'm not jealous. And Anna's like, are you gonna cause yourself into a tailspin? Anna the Gemini is like,
women kept saying, like, you're getting like really upset right now. Like, I think
and Victoria, like and exactly. And then Victoria in her interview goes, I think all the girls that are happy for Brie are fake as shit. Like, and they believe her like she just doesn't even. And this is when Jasenia and Victoria latches onto Jasenia, because Jasenia, bless her sweet little heart. Actually, I'm gonna pull up her chart real quick. Where is it? Jasenia literally, like, poor little sweet little Jasenia tries to be like, oh, but like it's okay for like us to be happy.
She's the one that says, she's like, I can feel my feelings.
Yeah. Oh, she's a Scorpio. Okay. And oh my God, I'm obsessed. Jasenia is a Capricorn moon. So her Capricorn moon is like is opposing Victoria's Cancer moon and is on Victoria's Capricorn sun. So of course she's able to be like, I'm able to take my emotions, Capricorn, her moon sign emotions. I'm able to take my emotions and kind of put them here. But I also can recognize that I'm happy for someone else. Basically, I'm being a very real person right now. And
I'm mature and I understand the things that I am feeling. I can compartmentalize.
Yes. And this is actually this is such a fascinating episode to me, because this is not the first time that we get almost like a very clear, like, this person has done either kind of emotional work, gone to some therapy, done some kind of self-reflection learning to be able to say something like, I can take my emotion, I can be happy for somebody else while still feeling upset that I didn't get to go on the date. Like, anyway, which is a normal, whatever. It's a normal thing we all have to, you all fake on the first couple episodes, Victoria. We all know the game. So then she goes, or wait, Jasenia. Oh yeah, no, that's it. Because then I have them skipping ahead to how they just fully launched each other off of these ATVs. Or
I mean, basically,
Matt launched Brie off. They like tipped it over, are fully in the mud. Like
so before they tip it over, obviously, like before she gets on his ATV, they each have their own, and they're going on this trail through the forest. And it's funny because, like, you can kind of see Brie in the back, like, trying to keep up. And Matt James, who I don't know if this is his first time or if he's, like, acclimated to it very quickly, but he is tearing shit up in front of her. And I'm just watching the dust and the mud, like, fly back onto her ATV. He's literally leaving her in the dust.
He was straight up zigzagging. Like, he was, like, doing a zigzag.
He's going apeshit on this ATV.
And this is where that Sagittarius Mars of his is popping out. He's just like, yeah, I'm on a fucking ATV, man. And he's not even thinking about the fact that he's on a date with a girl behind him.
Like, she's behind you, dude. It's like that TikTok trend where it's like, I'm just gonna stop walking and see how far my partner gets before they realize that I've stopped walking. And there are some TikToks where you really just see that person fucking go. I'm like, not imagine.
I shit you not. Matt would keep walking.
I know he would. It's a clear demonstration that he would.
For like a block. Like,
but like, couldn't be me.
No. And I would never. No. So Brie is getting tore the fuck up, and then he takes her on they ride it together, and then he launches her off. And then the first thing he's talking about is, oh no, her mom's gonna be mad at me. I'm like, how about Brie?
He literally promises her mother in a talking head interview, like, Brie's mom, I will take better care of her. I will protect her better from now on. I promise. Like,
he is like really leaning into this, and part of me just wants to be like, can we like worry about Brie? You just threw her off. But also Brie, as equally Sagittarius as he is, more Sagittarius than he is like, yeah, I'm fine. Drag me through the mud. That's this is great.
Thing. Brie is self-described as like really not giving a shit about anything, and like not giving a shit, but like Brie is like,
No, but not giving a shit.
And laid back and is very go with the flow. Self-described. I don't know.
Now that's and that is what a entire Sagittarius person would be. And when I say it, y'all, for refresh, Brie is a Sagittarius sun, moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and the only thing she has is a Aquarius Saturn. That like that's when it leans. Or I think she may be Pisces. No, but I think she's Aquarius Saturn. But whatever.
And quick plug for all the listeners: if you'd like to follow along with us, you can find all of these charts on our Instagram at Do the Right Roses Align.
Yes, please. I've been posting
pop
them.
On over, and you want to reference the charts as we're talking about it. It'll give you a better understanding, kind of fill in some of the gaps. Can't recommend it enough. Shannon's done amazing work on our grid.
I have been putting out so many charts and hopefully by next week I will have them all out so that anybody who has anything to say will be on the, like, we will have the chart out, because for me, and like obviously I haven't posted like MJ's chart, Jasenia's chart, like a couple of these girls who were like doing stuff this episode. But anyway, that being said, I'm hype to get it all done. Follow our Instagram, Do the Roses Align. And also I realized too how easy it is when I have these charts to put them into stories and do like have them next to each other, like this person versus this person with this.
It was perfect. It was dope.
I'm obsessed. So that's the vibe. So anyway, Brie is the most Sagittarius person, and so she is just like, fuck it, I don't care. Like, sure, launch me off this thing, great. But this is to the point too where it's like she and Matt's date was deep, I guess, toward the end, but for a while they weren't really saying much. Like they weren't like in the hot tub, they were just kind of like, haha, our near death experience brought us closer. Like,
yeah, that's when he was like interviewing her.
Yeah. And then she says something funny, which was the most Sagittarius thing. I don't know how everything she says is the most Sagittarius, but she said, some of the girls asked me, well, what if you died on the ATVs? Which makes me think that they knew that was happening first. And she goes, and I was like, so what? We'll die together. That is literally been my motto of like, well, if I get COVID with Olivia, well, fuck it. Like Sagittariuses are like, yeah, I'm going down with them. Like, I don't care. We're dying. If I die, we're dying. Whatevs. And then they got launched off the fucking thing. So it's just very funny how that worked. And what they
I'm like a morbid ass bitch, and I'm just trying to imagine if someone said that to me on a date, I'd be like, okay.
No, meanwhile he loved it. He was all down. And then I can't remember why I wrote this. They clown each other over needing to be redeemed. What did they say about being redeemed? This is where I'm like, damn, the day after. Who fucking knows? But whatever. They have a very interesting robotic kiss. And I not say robotic, but it's like, is this she asks, or no, he stares at her for a long time and then kisses her, which is the same Abigail move. But then everyone else asks him for a kiss. Like he's very interesting with the kissing.
I wonder if he's just like not nearly as liberal as, but I mean, like kind of he is, because I feel like
he's a good old Christian boy.
But we don't see him kiss a lot of people, but they're like mini makeout sessions every time.
Yeah.
Like you don't see any simple like kisses. Like you see like.
Well, I think again, this is another back to he hasn't been on the show before, so he doesn't realize that like you haven't kissed almost all these girls on night 1 or night 2 at least, or date 1. Like that's kind of wild. Like we're always making out now, but
he's not used to the cameras yet.
And this is whenever they go over to this hot tub, and he goes, this is a wood-fired hot tub. And then he goes, is that cool? And she's like, yeah, that's cool.
This whole portion of the date, I didn't like this.
I remember you texted me, you were like, I hate this. I was just screaming about how this is the most Sagittarius shit ever, where literally he takes his shirt off and she is like, her face goes from like alert to like,
yeah, her jaw actually drops. Like
she is full blown checking him out. And also, honestly, I will say this about Matt, and we haven't been in person with him, but Matt's tall, and tall men just, tall men who are fit like that, that is the immediate girl. And whenever like the picture of them on their group date that like Bachelor Nation's Instagram account posted or whatever, he has his hand, like his whole arm is around her whole body. Like she is so short compared to him. So of course, all of these women are going to be like, he's so hot because he's tall.
Fair.
But whatever.
I guess,
so
yeah.
He chops literal wood for this wood-fired hot tub, but we do not see him loading the wood in anywhere. So I'm intrigued to where it went.
It was that hot tub had been taken care of by a producer. They had a fire marshal on set. That shit was like burning and ready to go. That wood went fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
And that definitely was not the first log that he chopped. That was probably log like 2 or 3, maybe 3 or 4.
But also he's very strong, so like I could feel like most,
right, but that's
maybe
no, I'm sure he's like strength wise.
Maybe they had him practice
like,
chopping
the aim
wood
of it all. That's what I mean. Like that was definitely not his like first attempt at splitting a log ever.
Yeah. Oh wow! I remember I reversed this date in my mind. The wood was obviously before their kiss, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all the same date. But then is when we cut away. And we go back to Victoria saying, I hate this girl power shit to the ambiguous producer in a mask. And that's actually what's crazy is immediately now I know, like, if they're in a mask, they're not on
behind
TV.
The scenes. Yeah, exactly.
And this is when Rachel and Anna and Serena P are kind of chatting about Victoria, and they're all like I'm kind of stressed. They're literally like, everyone's just like generally concerned, but also like, why is she being so negative? Like, why is she being like this? And Victoria, I don't know if you noticed this, but it bothered the shit out of me when she's talking to the producer, but she had her arms in the sleeve of her sweatshirt, like all the way inside, but with her hands kind of sticking out of the sleeves, and was swinging the sleeves, the empty sleeve, like a child. And I was like, you're calling these girls, you're shit talking these women while you are literally in your sweatshirt. Like, it just, I wish I had is a full fucking immature mess with this. And
well, this is when she started to trigger me as the Capricorn that I know, because the Capricorn that I know is very like, I am right, I am mature, I am so smart, but like it's so much in your face. It's obvious that you're trying to convince yourself and me.
This is also where I was starting to get vibes of my Capricorn mother. And I'm going to say this thing also about my mom and Victoria's charts. So my mom's a Capricorn sun. Victoria is a refreshed Capricorn sun, Cancer moon, Scorpio rising. Scorpio rising means she has a Leo midheaven. And this is something that is very much what we're seeing. So midheaven and the 10th house in our charts, literally, like, the Bachelor is 10th house because it is a public sphere. You are on TV, you are showing yourself to the public masses. So you are at the mercy of the 10th and the 11th house in your chart and whatever. So her chart, Leo, and what's right after Leo, Virgo. So those are her 10th house, Leo, 11th house, Virgo. 11th house, Virgo. Wow. Kind of interesting how her fans, the 11th house rules like would be what your fans, the community, the people you're showing yourself to. She's literally having a full-blown critique. Like, everyone is critiquing her. She's also judging everybody else. Like, she is that judgmental person. But the Leo midheaven is where I'm like, I'm queen, I'm royalty on TV. And she literally can't drop that queen shtick either, like, this whole episode. So it was just, so my mother has a Leo Mars and my mom is a Scorpio Venus. And so with these Scorpio, Leo, Capricorn themes, it's very messy. And my mom literally argues with me like Victoria argues, and I'll get to that later, but this is why when you showed me what you did, and we'll talk about it, about the tea that you sent me, I don't believe that. I don't. And
I don't either.
I believe it. I believe that she believes that happened.
That's what I was going to say. I believe that is absolutely like her reality, but I do think that she is probably a little more out of touch than
she's misinterpreting person. She is entirely misinterpreting Marylynn's intentions, but also Marylynn, I had thoughts. Okay, we'll get there. But so we're back. Okay, so after the Victoria talking to a producer, we're back to Bree's date. She says to him, "I'm so lucky to have a first date that's fun." What? Again, like Sagittarius, sometimes I'm just like, girl, like they're all going to be kind of fun, at least generally in the first, whatever. And then this is when she starts talking about my mom never met my past boyfriends. And this is when she starts talking about her family life. And I was literally screaming to Olivia that this is Sagittarius through and through. So for anybody who doesn't believe in astrology, the second you start tying in astrology to your family life and the way you grew up and past experiences and all sorts of stuff, you will have your mind blown. So let me tell you about Bree real quick, and within her chart and within what she says on the date. So Bree says that her mom has never met my past boyfriends. My mom was a single mom. She had me at 13. She was pregnant with me at 13. So she maybe had her at 14 but either way, very young teen. She was a single mom for her whole life. And then during quarantine, out of nowhere, she found out that her mom was pregnant and engaged and was going to have another family that she is essentially not a part of. So then she tells us that her dad has been absent her whole life, and people talk, all about like, oh, well, don't you just love your dad? Don't you just love this? Don't you this, your dad's amazing. And this is where Matt is literally looking in a mirror. So Sagittarius, quick thing. Sagittarius is, we are carefree, amazing, like not amazing, but like, well, amazing, but we are very carefree in that like vibe of Brie, where she's like, I don't give a shit about anything. But the reason she doesn't give a shit about anything is because she's had to cope that way. Like she's had to, over time in her life, cope with not giving a shit about things, as in not giving a shit about not having a dad. She has to play that role in, because if you ever know, if anybody knows, if you know a Sagittarius, you know that they are generally the people who are always down for a good time, always up for partying, always down for something fun, because they're usually distracting themselves from tough stuff. And they're not telling you the tough stuff because Sagittariuses grew up with their parents thinking that they were they're fine. They're coping great. They are independent and doing their own thing. So they're totally fine and don't need therapy, essentially, right? Things like that. But newsflash, yeah, you do. And newsflash, Sagittarius people have feelings. And this is another thing that Matt, too, will probably see coming down the line, is that like Matt has a darker past than he wants to tell us. And he has been having to hold it in and not deal with it and not address that it might have really fucked with him. And anyway, but Bree's Sagittarius moon is very obvious here, because the moon sign is what rules our nurturing parent, and the moon and the sun in general are what, like, really, usually sun can translate to father and moon can translate to mother. So what's interesting about this is that Sagittarius, me too, as a Sagittarius, my dad wasn't absent as like gone, but my dad worked out of town and was gone all week long. And I don't have a Sagittarius moon, but Sagittarius moons usually have a parent like Bree's mom, single mom, something that happened to her when she was young, like, and then also having to grow up in a like state of like, I have to be independent because I was a baby when my mom was a teenager. Like anyway, Bree's whole story was triggering, or not, like, it was just putting off every Sagittarius light bulb in my head. And back to like, I'm dying to know Bree's chart or Bree's rising sign, because I want to know where the Sagittarius stellium falls. And honestly, I'm starting to think that she has a Sagittarius 4th house and a Virgo rising, because that Sagittarius stuff all happening with her family, very young, and then in quarantine. How old is she?
24.
24. yeah, she's getting to those. Oh God, I'm trying to think about perfection here. Okay, I'm doing too much astrology math in my head. I've got to move on. But anyway, she is just and so she's very Sagittarius. And then Matt literally is like, I resonate so much with this because this is basically my experience. Like, shows you how the only difference here is obviously he was not a child to a single teen mom, but he was a child to a single mom, and he did have an absent father, and they both had these similar experiences of having to cope with those things in a very similar way because they're both fucking Sagittariuses. And this is what was giving me interesting moment of like, maybe Matt is a Scorpio moon because they're having that quick little difference of like, of it. But I don't know. This is also, maybe he's a Sagittarius moon because they have almost the same story. So it's been wild. But I literally wrote, they basically have the same life. They talk about, this is also the most Sagittarius shit ever. They talk about gravitating to friends with big families. And I literally wrote, this is so Sagittarius, I am mind blown, because that's something that I do too. Like Sagittarius, I have a very small family. Like I have one brother and I have 4 total cousins. I have like, it's nothing. And so all of my friends, so many of my friends have had like 4 or 5 siblings, tons of family. I've been in huge family gatherings. Like, you gravitate towards people who have that bigger family because it's something that you think you need and want. And so they talk about how that's what they want. They want to have a bigger families together, or not together, but like, in general.
Right.
And then they toast to another Sagittarius thing, which is a continued adventure and to exploring love with you.
Classic.
So essentially that date was Sagittarius on a bulletin board out for everyone to see.
For Brie and Matt.
Yeah. Oh, it really was. And I think that was
picked a better date for the two of them.
Yeah. And I think it was a perfect date for the first date for both of them, for Matt, right? The first group date. I also feel like that's why they did 2 one-on-ones, is they were like, let's not bombard him with 2 intense group dates. Let's just give him the first date he can have is just one person. we can't overwhelm him.
Yeah, let's not overwhelm him, but then let's give him the largest group date in Bachelor history. But let's not overwhelm him. But put 18 women on one fucking date.
That was absurd. So anyway, Victoria's back to talking with these crazy bitches, and no, she's the crazy bitch talking to the sane women. But
so this is when Victoria turns around and says that she doesn't want to be on a group date because she doesn't feel like she can be her most authentic self with these women. And like she would do it for Matt, but like not for the women. Like, it's not to hang out with you guys, but I would do it if Matt asked me to. And this is what are the words that I'm looking for, like, to put it nicely? But like Victoria is giving me very much like, I'm not like most girls.
I am so much more special than literally all of you. And I can't believe it. So Victoria is really interesting. And so first of all, I have Alana. They immediately jumped to Alana in an interview, which is so funny. Or Alana? I don't know how they say her name. No, Alana, the Pisces, the one who responded. Elena, whatever.
Sorry.
There's a lot that she does. She's like, she's literally like, you can tell the producer's like, will you tell us about what you think about Victoria? And she's like, my thought on Victoria is that she just does a lot that is off-putting. I don't know. Stop being an idiot. She doesn't even at all have any qualms about being like, she's being an idiot. And I kind of live for that because Alana is, if I remember correctly, an Aries. Mercury? Hang on, I'm checking the Instagram because I haven't updated my spreadsheet of her yet. Oh no, she's an Aquarius Mercury. Oh yeah, she really doesn't give a shit what she says. But the Aries moon, she's among the Aries moon crowd. There's literally so many of them.
I will say that it's also very easy to, I don't want to say insult because I don't think that that's what Elena was doing, but it's way easier to critique someone's personality when that personality is being perceived as like a front or like a character. Like, I'm not insulting you personally. I'm insulting, or like, I'm not pleased with this character, like this facade. And then it like makes it way easier to separate. You know what I mean? So like she's not even like reading, she is reading Victoria because we are finding out that this is Victoria's like real life personality. But in her mind, she's not like reading Victoria. She's like this fucking queen character.
Yeah, like it's very strange. And I mean, I think that's also another thing that, like, another tactic of Victoria's too, with leaning into the queen thing, is I feel like she's able now off the show to be like, well, that was just an act. That was just my thing. That was just this. But I'm just seeing too many things that I see in charts like hers. So it's a lot. And this is where Alenia reads the date card and the names literally just go on and on and on. We have Chelsea, Serena P, Abigail, Sydney, Ileana, Kristen, Lauren, Jasenia, Sarah, Serena C, Kit, Kylie, Katie, MJ, Mari, Piper, Rachel, and dun dun dun, Victoria.
What?
Wow, I had no idea she was gonna be on the date.
Also, the way that Ileana was reading this date card, really, I know that she was told by the producers, like, okay, so say everything like nice and clear and slow, like pause for dramatic effect, like all that bullshit. But I am hoping that we find out that Ileana has more like personality than what we saw, because I was just like, Chelsea.
There is literally no way to me that Ileana is not a Taurus rising.
Serena P.
She's either a Taurus or a Scorpio rising, because she's a Scorpio Venus, and so I think she has Venus on the ascendant, or she's ruled by Venus. But
she's
actually
cute, but she's just like I think that we talked about this. Like, she's like me at my lowest energy, but like all the time.
Yeah. Oh, you did say that. But it says, the date card says, I'm looking for the one. And it says, again, here we go, 18 of us, we're going to be fighting for time. And this is, Victoria goes, just don't be negative, you guys.
Okay, I was going to ask you what Victoria said, because I don't have what she said, but my next note is, Victoria, if the age old, if everyone in a room does not like you, you are probably the problem.
Yeah.
No exceptions. Zero exceptions.
Yeah.
Like, I can't fathom not, like, maybe it's because I'm anxious and I just assume that everyone hates me all the time anyway, but I can't imagine being in a room with people who, like, actively do not like me and are making it obvious that they don't like me, and not feeling like, oh my God, what did I do?
That's what the problem though with her is, she is unraveling because she is not being liked, but she's trying to compensate by being like, no, I am only here because of Matt. I don't give a fuck about any of you anyway. Like,
yeah, she's like,
I know this girl, like Victoria, like, I don't know her, but first of all, everybody does not realize giving me their zodiac, giving me their full charts, like, I may not know you, but I know you. Like, and I know these tendencies, and I can tell she's unwrapped. I mean, she has Mars moon, which is, she has Cancer moon and Mars, same sign. And do you have Cancer Mars? No, you have Libra Mars. And so with Cancer, with having the same sign in Mars as you do in the moon, is very intense. Like, literally, so Mars is always trying to set anything off. Like, Mars is the fighter of the zodiac, is the one that was Mars is the conflict sign, and putting it on your moon is where we process our emotions. And
wait, is that why I'm a very good, sorry to detract from The Bachelor, to
no problem
myself, but
okay,
is
Leo.
that why? Yeah, I was literally just about to say Leo. Is that why when I argue, I don't argue from like an emotional place, I argue from like a logistical place? Like, I argue from like a place of like,
yes, Libra Mars is very much that like vibe of, I can see both sides. I need to understand your side and this side. Libra Mars is as a Cancer Mars, which is also Victoria. I have also have a Cancer Mars. So I can, again, I see through Victoria's and I see her. Okay. Libra Mars can bother me sometimes because technically we are both of us. We are both Mars in what is the debilitated Mars, Victoria included. Cancer Mars is Mars in fall. It's Mars' least favorite sign to be in, whereas Libra and Taurus are Mars in detriment, and they are the opposite, and those signs are the opposite sign to the signs Mars rules, which are Aries and Scorpio. So Libra and Taurus tend to have a more reserved, Libra and Taurus Mars tend to have a more reserved way of arguing. They tend to wait maybe longer before kind of starting any kind of conflict. They consistently, Taurus is the kind of people who wait and hold grudges, whereas Libra Mars, like you, are the kinds of people who will wait until they have all of the information from both sides and then try to argue to find the perfect middle. And it's sometimes
you
not.
Just read me like a book. I need to see all of the receipts, and then I'm gonna make a decision based on logic.
Yeah,
and like fair
and
points.
Libra Mars too can go the fuck off, like just it's no problem. But it is a very much like I'm weighing these options and I'm trying to find what's fair. Libra Mars loves fair. We have to be fair. Everything should be fair and equal. We should not be having any and so my debilitated Mars, Cancer Mars, and just like Victoria probably would say something like this, sometimes life ain't fair and we don't always get to do that. Like, and it doesn't always work that way, but I digress. Back to Cancer Mars Moon for Victoria.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I love good audio. It will come up because Anna is a Taurus Mars, Kit is a Libra Mars. Like we're going to have these people. It will show up. But anyway, with Victoria though, having the same moon sign as you do your Mars sign. And this is regardless of sign. Cancer makes it worse because Cancer is Mars in fall, but is moon in domicile, which is the Cancer is what moon is ruled by Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the moon. So having those so a domicile planet like a Cancer moon is going to be very open, free flowing. She is constantly sharing her feelings, right? Cancer moon. But those feelings are pretty fucking aggressive and not really helpful to the moment, which is the Cancer Mars influencing that moon. So it's really wild to watch her.
So like she could have good points, like she could develop valid good points if she just gave herself a second to like filter her shit out.
She literally, exactly. That is the problem with her. She is not, and there are a lot of things she's saying. Yes, there's not a lot. There's a lot of things she's saying that aren't wrong. Like it is okay to be angry that you're not on the group date, but to then turn it into what she turned it into.
Right. Like where is your anger placed?
Right.
Like, who is
why are you
angry? Why are you frustrated? Like it's frustration versus the women did not do something to you.
Right. And that trick, and not only that, her Mercury and her Sun in Capricorn oppose that moon and Mars. So her identity, Sun, and her communication style, Mercury, are opposing this emotional reactivity. So it is not working. Like it is not cohesive. She is literally like, as I said on the story on our podcast, on the podcast Instagram. Also, did you watch the story that I was posting? I was live reacting and that shit was absurd. So good. Oh no, I'm not saying did you watch it. I said, did you watch me? But like
But I did.
I literally was like, Victoria's unraveling and I was stressed out. And so
really
her chart explains totally why. And Scorpio, when she's like, I feel like I can't be my most authentic self, which is we're back to where we were, right? That is Scorpio rising. That's the Scorpio rising being like, I can't be myself around you people because I don't trust you. I don't trust you to be myself, which is what she tries really hard to kind of tell Matt later, even on the group date with the wedding stuff, not even later, but like she's like, I'm not like that all the time. I'm not like she's trying, but Anyway, but we're back on Bree's date where he just has to give her the rose. And then they do so they literally transition us to this just to give us the moment of like, okay, we give him the rose, we give her the rose, and then they kiss, and then the fireworks pop off, but then we see them from the women's perspective and not from the date, which I honestly like. I liked this editing. Like, I think the producers are on it. They are smart. They learned from their shitty La Quinta quarantine season and have figured out what to do during these moments instead of just showing them making out in front of fireworks, which we do see them making out in front of the fireworks, but it's under the B-roll. It's under the audio of all the women being like, they're probably making out right now.
The make-out is the B-roll and the star of the show is the women.
Yeah, we don't need big romantic music over this piece. We know they're fine.
What I find interesting, and I think that I think you'll agree with me. I think that the reason you and I liked this type of edit so much is because this fortifies exactly what we're saying about this show transitioning into something real world based. Like, it cares more about the interactions between the women and how the women are experiencing this situation. Like, honestly, I could be wrong. And maybe this is a hot take. I don't know. But I feel like Maddie coming out during Peter's season and Maddie being like, this is my journey too. Like, yes, it's about you, but this is not just your love story and I'm an addition. Like, this is also my love story. And I think the producers are like, ding, 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 ding.
I mean, finally, like, it's
necessary. It makes it better.
And also, the women are always amazing players and are always so good at the show, and it's clear. But so we have this women saying they're probably making out right now, and then on my notes under it I have in star asterisks, they are making out. And Victoria goes,
correct.
And all of the women are like, oh man, they're like making out, they probably had a great day. And then this is when this is where this is like the true solidification of she argues like my mother, because she says, so now you guys understand how I feel. And the women are all like, well, we were never not bothered that they were on a date. We just like they and
the secondhand embarrassment that I got from this, I was just like,
and this is when she starts with Marylynn, because she says, I don't know, I don't have a quote who says it, but I think it might have been Anne. I don't remember who, but it was, your negative energy is bringing everyone down. Someone said that. And I don't remember, but
I know what you're talking about.
I think it might have been Marylynn. But then Victoria so Marylynn starts asking like, no one, like, what is, she's trying to ask Victoria, like, what is it that's upsetting? Like, where is the problem? Like, why do you think people are being rude to you and you can't be yourself? Like, I don't remember exactly, I'm not quoting her exactly, but it was something along the lines of her trying to be like, Victoria, where is this coming from? Like, why is it that you think people are being rude to you when none of us have been rude to you? And then Victoria says, you know what? You were rude to me, Marylynn. And you said last night when you said, I want to pick apart your brain and understand who you are. And Jess, I shit you not, the fucking scream I let out while watching that, I lost my damn mind, because this is Victoria versus Marylynn. Let's fucking go. Victoria, that phrase that Victoria said about Marylynn, she says where Marylynn, she quotes Marylynn saying that she wanted to pick apart Victoria's brain to understand who she is. That is the most triple fucking Virgo shit I have ever heard from Marylynn. She is literally pick apart. That is a Virgo, like, that is Virgo phrases all the way.
So for you, I like cannot fucking wait to hear what you're about to say about this. But what I want to ask you to maybe like kind of understand it better. Do you think,
yes, help me lead
based on, do you think based on Marylynn's chart, what we know about Marylynn, because Marylynn is confirmed, is she not?
Both her and Victoria are confirmed.
Okay, so we've got the charts. We have the receipts. So based on what you know, based on the charts that we have, do you think that when Marylynn asked this question, because I could have seen this going both ways, do you think that Marylynn was being genuine, as the women keep stating that she is, Or do you think Marylynn did something like how I would do if I was arguing, saying like, I honestly just want to like pick apart your, like, do you think that there was a condescending tone to it, or do you think that it was genuine based on Marylynn's chart?
All right. I 100% have this answer.
I knew you would.
So I am going to say, just based off my own personal bias on how we were interacted with to find out these charts. So for background, Marylynn confirmed her chart within the first day of our DMing of the women. She was the first, literally one of the,
right?
No, it was Kylie was the first, right, and then Marylynn was second. And Marylynn was literally nothing but a sweet angel. Exactly what these women are describing her as. All right. Victoria did not respond to our DM, but the second we were tagging her and posting photos of her on the internet that were getting shared around, she came into our comments to confirm what we didn't know. So I'm not saying that I'm glad. I am 100% so thrilled to have anybody telling me anything about their chart in any way. If anyone wants to slide into comments, please do. But just that initial moment gave me thoughts on motive here, on motive. And so I will say, I do believe there was a little bit of condescension from Marylynn, but I don't think that she said it that way. She probably said it pretty, like, I think that she is being direct, because so she is a Virgo. She's a Virgo sun, moon, Venus. She's a Capricorn rising. She is a, where's her Mercury? A Leo Mercury. All right. So the Leo Mercury is the one little different moment. But she has Jupiter, Venus. That's why she was all over Matt being like, why am I here? Anyway. So, but the other thing about her is she has a Gemini Mars, Marylynn. And that is where I come from, of her being like, she doesn't necessarily like, she probably, what she told Matt about like, I didn't come here to be involved in drama, I just ended up in it. That's very Gemini Mars. Like, she probably wasn't starting shit with Victoria, and we didn't air, like, this conversation wasn't aired. Like, you know, we don't know anything about it. So it likely wasn't TV worthy, you know? So part of me thinks that, I don't know. To answer your question, based on Marylynn's chart, I believe she is being genuine. I do, in the fact that she says, like, what she said, I want to pick apart your brain. I think she wanted to do it both as a curiosity point, but also I genuinely think she probably wants to understand Victoria, because she has a Capricorn rising, whereas Victoria has a Capricorn sun. So the sun person in that relationship with anybody, if you are a rising sign, if you have a rising sign and you know anybody with the same sun sign as your rising, the sun person is literally putting their sun in your first house and is shining a light on who you are. So with Marylynn, she's the one who is feeling like seen by Victoria's existence as a Capricorn. And so she's probably trying to wonder and like, am I, like, do I have this tendency? My mother, for instance, the Capricorn, has a sister who's a Capricorn rising, and they argue quite similarly to this moment, where the Capricorn rising is stressed and slightly threatened by the Capricorn sun, but the Capricorn sun is bothered that the Capricorn rising just kind of exists as that. Like, the Capricorn rising is, I am very secure in that part of me, whereas this identity of the sun is what rules our identity. Sun. And so Victoria's identity is in literal crisis with this. And basically, the most Virgo shit ever is wanting to pick apart someone's brain. Virgos do like to know all of the receipts so that they can know everything. And I bet you money with that Mars Gemini in Marylynn's chart that she whatever she would have learned from Victoria having to pick apart her brain or whatever, she probably would have shared with other women. But as a receipt. And I genuinely think she wanted to understand Victoria. And I think even in this moment, she still tries to want to understand her. And later, the rose ceremony conversation is very telling. So this is then when Victoria says that Marylynn is psychologically disturbed. And one other funny thing about their charts. Marylynn, being a Virgo sun and Virgo moon, was born on a new moon. Whereas Victoria, as a Capricorn and Cancer moon, Capricorn sun and Cancer moon, was born on a full moon.
Of course she was.
What do we know about full moons, right? They kind of bring on
that energy.
That kind of chaotic energy because of the opposition, because the sun is in one sign and the moon is in its opposite sign. And the moon is fully bright. The sun is showing the moon in its trueness, right? And we are seeing all of that chaos. And so people born with a full moon tends to have tendencies like that. It doesn't always mean Victoria. Like, if you have opposite sun and moon, don't feel bad. But it's just the way that energy expresses itself is a lot more all over the place. The identity, whereas because the identity is opposite the emotional coping inner self, whereas Marylynn, her identity, Virgo, is the same as her emotional coping inner self. So she is showing us her true, or in theory, she is showing us a true self of her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think Victoria is definitely creating these situations in her mind. And that's also because she has Sun Neptune. I mean, she's Capricorn Sun and Capricorn Neptune. Of course, she's creating a fantasy, but we'll get there.
Can I tell you what note I have?
Yes. Also tell me as I get a drink from my fridge over here.
Oh, you're fine. So the next note that I have isn't necessarily relevant to the episode, but it literally says, I hear far too much Leo slander to not point out that every Capricorn I know behaves this way. And you really can't tell them anything when they're wrong and they're you're trying to make them hear it from different angles. Like they're every Capricorn I know personally, what's happening in their mind is the fucking truth, and you cannot tell them otherwise. You can have it laid out in front of them and they don't fucking care.
Yes.
And
you are completely correct.
Far too much prideful and stubborn slander for Leos to not point out that every single Capricorn I know behaves this way.
Yes, and honestly, most of the slander online for any kind of sign, Leo, Gemini, Scorpio, Sagittarius gets it sometimes, Libras, like the internet loves to hate on some signs, but you want to know why? It's because
you're just jealous.
Why do haters hate? Oh, it's because they want it. So Leos get hated on. Number one, Leos get hated on because they're confident and they know what they want, and they are pretty much widely loved. Right? Geminis get hated on because Geminis can change their mind. They know how to learn a new thing and change their mind on it. And so they seem two-faced because one day they'll wake up and think something different, but that doesn't necessarily mean that what they were thinking before is not true to them too. It's just that there's a duality. People don't understand how to have that duality. People can't figure out that middle, and Gemini does. Scorpio gets hated on because Scorpio can hold a fucking secret. They can keep a fucking secret, and most people can't. Right? And Scorpios also are generally like sexy and brooding, and they have these eyes that look at you like, and so it's just that everyone is jealous of what they don't have. And so yes, Leo gets all of that because you know who probably is starting all that fucking Leo talk? Capricorns. Because first of all, Capricorns are obsessed with Leos because the reason you have so many in your life is because they fucking love you, because Leos are what Capricorn wants to be. But exactly, like Capricorns want what Leos have. They want, because Capricorns are cardinal Earth. Cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Cardinal signs are the starters. They are self-starters. They have forward, ambitious, moving energy. They are the boss type people. There's a reason that if like the most common bosses that I've ever heard of people having are those 4 signs: Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. Very commonly the Aries and the Capricorn, because Capricorn is the sign that Mars is exalted in. So Mars is shitty in Cancer, right? Like I was saying about Mars in Cancer, Victoria's Mars in Cancer, but Mars in Capricorn is like, I'm going to go get my fucking shit and I don't not fucking care who I step on. So even if you don't have a Mars in Capricorn, Capricorn energy can have that vibe of like, I will get what I want. I will work my fucking ass off to get it. And I will not wait around for you. I will not deal with any of that bullshit. And the problem with that too is Capricorn likes to be in charge. Like they want to be the number one. They want to be the ones people look at to go to for help. But then when you if you've ever asked for the advice of a Capricorn and then not follow it, they're literally going to scream at you. They probably have shit on you. Like, you know what I mean? Like they are like, Capricorns want you to follow their advice because they think everything they do is the right thing. And oftentimes it's true, because Capricorns are kinds of people who have their shit together at a young age, but it's not like that does not work that way all the time. But anyway, Victoria's so much. All right, let's get on to this fucking group date, because we'll talk more about Victoria and Marylynn whenever we get to the rose ceremony, because we have been off. But this group date, it's funny. I actually loved this group date a lot. I thought it was very funny the way they set it up. And so we start with it's raining, which is, I love that drama aspect to it, which is something they don't deal with in California ever on their early dates. Rain.
Hard fact.
And Sydney gets the hug jump.
The same leather jacket.
Leather is the new raincoat. So so Sydney runs up and is the one who gets the hug jump, the coveted hug jump entrance, even though she's very tall like him. So anyway, we get him explaining that he's a visual person.
I don't know what it is.
Anyway. But he says he's a visual person, and our photographer king Franco is back, baby. God, I'm obsessed with Franco.
Suit and ostrich feathers?
Yeah, like a full-blown feather coat that he is I'm living. So he says that they have 10 minutes to get dressed, and they all get wedding gowns on and jewelry and all that shit, and it is full-blown America's Next Top Model running in and like scattering amongst picking out an outfit on a rack and whatever.
Oh my God.
And we have Mari saying, I'm not going to let anything get in the way. And they show her asking Matt, like holding, this was so fucking stupid to me. She's holding like 3 dresses and she's like, which one do you think is your favorite? And he goes, oh man, I don't know. I think they're all going to grade on you. And I'm just like,
I'll just try them all on.
Yeah, I'm like, what was the point? What was the point of that? That was, and then fucking Victoria has to. They put a crown veil in there for her. We know this. This had to have happened. There's no fucking way. And anyway, then we get into the photo shoot, and we've seen this before on a million Bachelor dates. Nick Viall had it. That was a date that Corinne took her top off in the pool, and he grabbed her tits, like, or he was we like, we did it, but it was only on the one-on-one. So
true.
But this was the full, because they usually do the one-on-one photo shoot thing too for the people they think are going to win. But the early group date wedding photo shoot has done it before, and it has happened to turn into things like what it turned into this time, which is like a fucking shit show of fighting. So Jasenia is first up, and she literally kisses him on the photo. Then we get Serena P, and they're just doing some like funny stuff because she's so fucking short, and so he's like Matt's like leaning down, and she's like, haha. Then Kayla comes up with like hot eye contact. They're like
she's
in each other.
directing the shoot.
She is a fucking. She's like
directing.
She's literally. I mean, Pisces queen. Love it. She's like, okay, Matt, and you look here, and I'll go. She kisses his cheek. Victoria, or so Mari is now taking photos. We don't really see much of her, but then Victoria interrupts. I don't know what this was, because so usually we have interruptions on dates and stuff or whatever, but this is like, was Victoria, I'm assuming Victoria was prompted to interrupt someone.
She had to have been.
But the thing is like usually the prompt feels like the edit feels more obvious for the prompt, but this one literally looked like she just walked up from the line. Like it looked like she just got impatient and just like was like, okay, my turn. Like, and just like, that's what it really did look like. Like I am literally always a person who is like, producers did it. Hi, Miso. But this one, I was like, producers probably told her to do something, but this seems very much like she just inserted.
I was gonna say, like, I feel like we both have the same thought where like we want to believe that it's producer manipulation, but I got the same vibe. Like the way that it was cut, it seemed like a little. Also, we see it at the end when there's the whole business with during the rose ceremony, but like the camera work was like a little extra shaky, like a little less edited. Like you saw a little more like.
Candid, oh, you mean like a little more real world?
Fucking exactly. But we saw like the camera kind of get like a little more like, oh, zoom out. Like we see some production equipment and like some people we probably shouldn't see when Victoria's walking in to say like last royal wedding. So I feel like we have the same thought in the sense that it looked a little more organic, but I think it's safe to assume that she was probably prompted by producers earlier in the day. Like at some point in the date, you should just like interrupt. Like if you want the time,
maybe
like, fuck the order.
Yes, I could.
So she just like did agree. It of her own volition, but they knew that it was gonna happen at some point.
Or maybe the producers, were like catching on to Mari being extra kind of annoyed about Victoria, and then in the background, like they had prompted Victoria, and then they were like, as they're all in the line, right? Maybe producer was like,
yeah, like, maybe she was
like just like that quick little like, go right now, yeah.
Like I think she did it.
But either way, it was very fucking awkward. And she's like, so she has lots of royal wedding, and then she stands on the sideline of their shoe until Mari's like, well, I just think we have a couple more shots. But then after Mari walks off, Franco looks to the other women, and Victoria goes, the royal wedding, you forgot?
Yeah, he calls for Piper. And then as he's calling for Piper, she's just like, the royal wedding, like, did you forget? And he's like, no, I didn't forget.
no, honey, of course not. Whatever the fuck his accent is. Misa, what?
No, he was hoping you would forget. He was hoping you would just like, take the hint and not.
Literally.
Oh, God.
And so she grabs. She literally, before she grabs his face to make out with him, she has him take her garter off her leg, and she's wearing white Converse, which is fine, great. But in that moment, I'm like, girl, if you're going to do the garter look, wear heels. But maybe they were only in Converse. Maybe they were all given Converse ahead of time because they knew they were going to be running around, and they were trying to be like, oh, don't worry about the shoes. Like, you're not going to see your feet in the photos.
I will say that I made a note of this because I paid attention. I like noticed that she was wearing sneakers because I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Like sneakers, like, but it is muddy. Maybe she wants to be comfortable. Like heels in grass, especially muddy grass, is never a good idea. You sink in instantly. So I was like, oh, maybe she just kind of thought ahead. But then I noticed because they have that like slow motion shot of the women walking through the forest to get there, and it's played with like it's been scored with something that came off of like a car racing video game soundtrack. and all of the women are wearing heels. Like when they're walking up to the thing to be told about the date, like as they're walking in slow motion, I was like, oh, so they haven't changed shoes yet. So I think that they were probably, you're right in the fact that I think they were given Converse when they were like shown the floor, like shown the showroom with all the dresses and all the accessories and shit. And like the sneakers were there.
Victoria made the sneaker choice immediately and then just got lucky in that she wore them later. So yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that. And I definitely think Victoria, no makeup queen. I think that she definitely enjoys being comfortable. And her outfit and bra choice later, we'll get there. But she, either way, girl, if you're going to show off your leg in that fashion, wear a heel so it looks like I do not like heels. Fuck heels. But if I'm going to show off my leg in a wedding dress moment, like the heel just makes your leg look the garter comes off. The garter comes off a little easier.
Sneakers like that, I'm down for it. I'm 100% like on board for when they were doing like the Adidas trend and like now the Air Forces with the dresses. Like I can get behind that. I'm down for comfort 10,000%. I don't like to wear heels, so I'm with you on that. But like knowing that you're in a
for the moment
shoot, that's it. Like knowing you're in a photo shoot, you as a photographer, like me as somebody who's got long legs, we know that like wearing a sneaker like that cuts your leg off. Like it just looks so blunt and it looks so aggressive. So if you're going for that like sexy, slender, like shown off kind of thing, a heel is always going to be what you pick because it elongates your leg.
Yep. And she pulls the garter off. Serena thinks that it was Serena C was like, I just think that's like a reach for attention. And then as she reaches for attention, she literally, Victoria, that's when she grabs Matt's face and because they were like doing the like cheek to cheek kind of thing, it looked like. And then she literally just took the side of turned his head aggressively toward her and planted a kiss on him. Like it was
so uncomfortable.
It was aggressively awkward. And
I hated it.
Then this is in her interview. To me, that was such a passionate kiss. Time to shut it down. Like, I'm married. So that statement
gets like so sloppy drunk at the bar. Like you go out with your friends, and Victoria's the girl that gets so sloppy drunk at the bar, but like truly and genuinely, not even in that drunk person way that's like, I'm not drunk, but like truly and genuinely is actually thinking that she's keeping her shit together. Meanwhile, she's like half slumped over on a bar stool. I don't want to believe that she's this unaware.
Yeah. And because to be unaware, being like, that was just like the most passionate kiss. I'm just like, girl, what? So then Chris Harrison shows up after Victoria conveniently. That also might have been part of the whole prompt for Victoria to be like, okay, count how many I wonder if they were like, count how many girls go, and on the 6th or 7th girl, go run in and interrupt. And because we have to do like, we're going to need I don't know, either way, something of that sort, because right after Victoria is when Chris Harrison walks in to be like, hey, just kidding. You're going to fight for him instead. And they it's essentially capture the flag, but
yeah, it's capture your heart or capture the heart.
Yeah, it's capture the flag, but they are capturing this big old heart balloon pillow. Was it a pillow? I think it was a pillow.
I think it was a pillow.
Yeah. But they're all throwing paint at each other instead of like trying to essentially pull your flag from you. Like, which is
basically like capture the flag meets paintball, but no paintball guns, just like bouquets and cake and handbags and then buckets of paint. There's like a slingshot set up. And then
they wanted to make it feminine paintball.
I think they wanted to make it because I mean, when you think about it,
they should have just let it be fucking paintball, but they didn't want to give all these women paintball guns. They wanted to. They just were like, they just let the girls.
Paintball?
No, I've not.
So
but I shot a gun.
Same, but when you get hit by a paintball, it leaves like
welts.
A real ass welt, like a real bruise. And if they want these women to continue to be pretty, like this is the first full day, we're to believe. So like, I think the women could have handled paintball guns fine, but they
all would have had like, yeah.
If they had done paintball just in the dresses, then it would have fucked the women up. And then if they put on protective gear, it would have taken away from the fact that this is all like wedding themed. So I feel like they're trying to make it
right.
friendly as possible.
Yeah, but they definitely, with the purses full of paint and the wedding cakes and I was just like, this is very, like feminine paintball.
I didn't understand.
Like, they just were like, how do we make these women look beat the fuck up? Like they were
what
like,
it has to be. Because I mean, if I'm playing capture the flag and it's not like paintball in the sense where like the women were just like painting each other with bouquets and shit and throwing cakes on each other, which we know Matt James is a fan of that, so good. Solid move for all the women that participated in the cake smashing. But I feel like it's not like, oh, you get
took me a second, I got it. That's great.
But like it's not like you're out once you get tagged by paint. So like, what is the point? Like, what am I painting you for? If the objective is for me to get that heart and bring it back, I'm not going to bother with the paint. The paint adds nothing to the defense. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't do anything other than like take away from the time that I could be spent. Okay, so we have Piper before this date starts and before they start getting paint on each other. We see MJ saying like, I'm on the red team. The red team is stacked. We've got Piper. We've got Victoria. Like, they've got these girls. And then the next shot we see is Piper being like, all right, and then we've got our forwards. We're going to have our line of forwards. And she's like, really? I got it. Like, that's a language that I understand. But like, they were taking it serious as fuck. But like I said, like, it takes away from the fact that why was there paint involved? Like, just give me some like arm pads and let's just like block these guys out of here.
Yeah. Yep. And
form like a defensive line and just.
I actually think it was funny because a lot of the fire signs were on the red team.
I know. I noticed.
It was mostly those fire signs, and it's so funny. Perfect. And Piper being the Leo too, she's like, all right, I'm in it. We're in it. And she's a Virgo. Let me look at her. Virgo Mercury. That's what it is for Piper. She's got that strategy down. And so, yeah, I thought that was really funny too, that I also thought that where I was like, damn, they are on this shit, where all the other girls were like, woo, which actually then ended up bothering me because Mari got most valuable bride.
Well, I sent you a screenshot, and I think that selection, I think them choosing Mari as the MVP for this episode or for that date, comes back to that one shot where she's like koala bear on this yellow heart, and there's like one woman coming over the shoulder. There's like 4 women in front of her, and she's just clutching onto this thing for dear life. Yeah. And it didn't matter what anyone else could have done. That display of like, I'm being fucking jumped right now, but it doesn't matter.
And Mari is like the super Aries one. She's Aries Sun, Aries, where'd she go? Aries Sun, Aries Moon, Aries Aries Mars. And so of course the Aries people, like, this date was made for the fire signs, but specifically all of these Aries women, because a lot of the people who are Aries Suns are Aries Moons, and they are on this date like, I'm gonna fucking go, let's go. Like, Kristen is an Aries Moon or an Aries Sun. Mari is an Aries Sun. Hang on, is there any Aries in? No, Kylie. Yeah, but anyway, it's just very funny to see how all of these competitive. Serena C is an Aries. MJ is an Aries Moon, and MJ was the one who got the fucking heart at the end, which is kind of why I was like, why didn't MJ get MVP?
MJ won the game.
Yeah, like, that was whatever. I love MJ, by the way. She's a Sagittarius person I'm watching on the show that I'd be like, I want to be your friend in real life. Anyway, so after I literally wrote on my notes, no notes on the fight date, but holy shit, it was chaotic. MJ got the heart, but Mari got MVP. And then I was obsessed with the cutscenes of Franco running in to take pictures of Chris Harrison saying, God knows what. And then being like, and the referee over there is asleep. Like, that was actually Franco so funny to me. I don't care.
Why did they bring him along?
I don't care, because I bet you know what I fucking bet? Franco probably has artistic as fuck shots. I bet you he cake. I'm obsessed.
I would love to see. Let's petition to see those pictures.
Let's petition to have Franco on the episode because I'm obsessed with Franco as this iconic photographer. So, and then the winners of the red team and the rest of the people have to go back home. And Sarah, they all kind of walk in all dejected, and Sarah goes, Katie, you're silent, and that's not normal. And I was like, oh my gosh, Sarah. And Katie immediately is like, well, I was motivated by this evening date. And now I'm like bummed that I don't get to spend time with him. Whatever, the classic, like, I don't get to do that second half, boo-hoo. But also, like, it makes sense that the cocktail part is not full of the full date.
Well, that's it, though. Like, I get that they didn't get to spend much time with him prior. Like, it wasn't, I get it. I would feel cheated out of a date. Like, the date was spent playing with the other women, and it wasn't spent talking to Matt. So, like, I would feel like I was cheated. So I get it, Katie. I feel you. But also, it was explained to them pretty explicitly that only half of the people would be spending the actual date with Matt. So, like, you knew there was a 50-50 chance.
Yeah, you know, no, exactly. So. And also, this is just the game.
Right.
So nighttime portion, this is when we get the first conversation is Lauren, and she tells Matt what he wants to hear, which is, I want a man of faith. I want someone who's God first, loyal, forgiving, and kind. And he's like, wow, I love that you want those things because I have only shown you that I am that. We prayed together already. And then Jasenia, this shit was like a whirlwind. I was just like, Jasenia, I have no regrets. I was afraid to come into the situation. She said she dealt with a lot of infidelity in her past. And then she cries.
A lot.
And then they kiss, I think. Yeah, right? A lot of tears for this episode. And then he says to Jasenia, Matt, that a man has duties to protect your wife. And I was like, okay. And then he says, if there's anything I can do to make you more comfortable. And she goes, a kiss would be nice. What? That's not what he meant, but sure.
Hey, get it where you can. He clearly, like we've said before, he's not kissing many women. Like, he's not being very liberal with the lip-to-lip contact. So if it takes the women
pandemic, maybe he's concerned about that. It's just, but he's not, obviously he's not concerned about the pandemic. We've watched him, but
no, you can get it through kissing. You can't get it through boat. If it's on a boat, if it's in international waters,
outside, it's outside. Okay. But then we flash back to off day, and Sarah says that there is like all of this physical and emotional exhaustion because the women who came back from the date are physically exhausted and the women who didn't go on the date are emotionally exhausted. I don't know how that worked. Maggie reads the date card, and it's Sarah, and she's gonna get her one-on-one, which again, if my prediction of Abigail Crown and Sarah ring is not already feeling very accurate, Sarah getting one of the first one-on-ones is Bree, I think Bree is gonna pull something like Kendall with Kendall and Ari in their season, Ari's season, where Kendall was top 4, but she went out after that because their relationship just wasn't progressed much.
It was more like friend vibes.
And I think that might end up being what Brie and Matt are because they are so similar. But then we're back on the Victoria's date. Victoria now talks to Matt, and this is when she's like, I have a lot of sides to me. I am not always completely that way. You're such a prize. And I just wanted to be like, she talks about her insecurities, and she says, like, when picking out a dress today, I was like, oh, I hope I don't look fat. She says this on air. Ugh! It just bothers me because I'm like, girl, stop putting that shit on TV. We're helping others think that way. But this is when Matt is so, all right.
What do you have? Because my note about this conversation is a note about Matt as well.
All right, so Matt pulls my favorite Sagittarius move that I have done plenty of times when I'm not fully ready to break up or like let someone off my hook when I was like in the hookup zone. And Matt is in his brain, you know what I mean? Like these girls are all kept for a reason, but he says, "You're here for a reason. And I enjoy those things about you." So he was very vague, and he was saying a broad statement of "you're here for a reason."
Maybe not my reason.
Not real. Exactly. Like there's a reason you're here. It's not maybe my call, but like I have to tell you something. So I'm going to tell you something to make you feel better, because I don't like that you're feeling stressed about the situation, because I'm feeling stressed about the situation because I've never been in this and I've never been the Bachelor. Yeah. Like it's like the whole, but all of that logic ends up biting him in the ass because of how she ends up acting. And she puts her, like she does the perfect, again, manipulative Mars moon Cancer. She does that perfect thing of putting herself in a position that seems like she is the victim person, the one who is being bullied when we're seeing what's happening. And I bet there was way more shit talking of Victoria going on by most of these women behind closed doors, but on air, what we're seeing, you know, we're only given one thing. And yeah, but what's that?
Well, that's what's so interesting about it, because I made a note that, like, I haven't really been a fan of Matt James, right? I mean, like, I don't dislike him by any means, but, like, I'm not completely, totally sold on him. And I can confidently say that in this moment, he was showing himself as a genuinely good person, because you can tell that he's, like, not into it, right? Like you said, like, she's there, but he's being so gracious and so polite about all the things that she's saying to him, and he's really giving her this air that like he's concerned. And maybe he is concerned, maybe that is a genuine feeling, maybe he's an empath, I don't know, but like he really sat there and listened to all of this absolute bullshit that she was spewing, like all of her, like, oh my god, like the women are, even later, like the women are bullying me, like I don't feel good about it, like I feel really insecure, all this stuff, and he's handling it like a fucking champion.
I can't believe you just jokingly called Matt an empath. I would kill you.
You get what I'm saying, though? Like, I don't think that he actually is. Like, I think that it's a front, but like, if you put me on that couch in front of Victoria and Victoria was saying that kind of shit to me, I would not have reacted the way that our good sir Matt James did.
No, he definitely was.
It would have been all over my face.
Yeah, he was really giving her the benefit of the doubt there, and was like, I like that you're bold. I mean, hey, a Sagittarius, it's like, I like that you're being unapologetically who you are. I like that you're forward and whatever, but
I do like that he ended their date. He ended the conversation though. Like,
can I walk you back up?
Can I take you back up there? And then she's like, yeah, but can I have a kiss first?
Again, back to all of this. Yeah, that was and Matt says, sure. He doesn't even say, of course, or like he couldn't, like, you know, it was just like, oh God. And also, this is too, I'm gonna say this as a Sagittarius who has been around, again, fair share of Capricorns. Sagittarius and Capricorn are not exactly a romantic match made in heaven. I'm not saying it cannot work. I think any couple can work. But having seen match chart full of Sagittarius and Libra, and seeing Victoria's chart full of Cancer and Capricorn, I'm like, even like, that's just not gonna work. Even, and Victoria is just being a little delusional and thinking that it, like, girl.
Well, that's it though. It's like, that's what made me think
you clearly don't even really want him that much.
As I see it, like as it's being shown to us, comma, the viewer, right? We don't really see much chemistry between them, but she keeps talking about this like passion and keeps wanting these like makeouts and whatever, and I'm like, what passion? Yeah. Like, literally, what are you talking about? Because I see none of it. It looks so stiff. It looks so forced. And I don't know if she's trying to, like I said before, like trying to convince herself or like trying to convince the viewers or whatever. I don't know if she's trying to like write her own reality. but she has no idea of what's happening. She's out of touch.
It's so fucking awkward. And then she says in her interview that he definitely values me and wants me here. And the fact that they put that in, like the producers put that phrase in,
they hate
kiss
her.
of death. Kiss of death.
Hate her.
So, and then he rolls back into the group and grabs the group date rose, and takes it away. It takes it back to where Lauren was. So part of me thinks that he and Lauren's conversation happened later. So what I think is that I think the editing fucked up, but I think he gave the group date rose to Lauren after their conversation, but they edited it separately because if you notice, all the women are in the space except for Lauren, and Lauren is in the exact place that they had their conversation, not only in the exact place with the exact same camera angle shot of Lauren as he gives her the rose. So what I think is that they edited Lauren's conversation to be earlier. They wanted the drama of Victoria so that there could be the whole, because her bullshit of like, I'm so sure I'm going to get the rose. And then when she could lash out, because then immediately Victoria immediately asks Lauren if she was expecting that. And she goes, I just shared a lot and like went out of the way with my day. So I thought that I would get the rose.
I'm telling you, I don't know what it is. I mean, that's not true. I do know what it is. But like, I am kind of baffled at the edit that she's receiving. I'm assuming that not all of it by any means, but I'm assuming that a lot of this, like you said, has to do with editing. And like, I firmly believe that Victoria is probably one of the earlier conversations and Lauren was probably right before she got the rose. But like, do you not think about the fact that you're on television and this is going to be aired? Do you not think that maybe it's a good idea to
I don't think she thinks she's
a little bit.
But this is the problem with her as a like she is, especially Sun Neptune, man, Capricorn Neptune. Our generation, we all have, so Neptune, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are generational planets. We all have them, like all millennials have Capricorn, Neptune, and Uranus pretty much. Whereas Gen Z get Aquarius placements in those. But so we all have it, but it just depends on where it falls in your chart, where it matters. And the fact that she has Capricorn Sun with that Uranus Neptune, she straight up like Neptune is all about illusions and dissociating from reality and glamour and all these things that we don't know the true story of. And so having a Capricorn Neptune right there, like she literally is just like creating these situations in her mind and is thinking that they're very different than they are. So it's to say, like, back to her lived experiences aren't wrong. It's just that like she is seeing things very differently than everybody else is seeing them. And so the fact that she would think that it's like, so I don't think that she thinks her behavior right now is bad or that bad. Yeah. So that's very wild. But anyway, that was that on that group date. Finally, right? Like, that fucking epic ass long group date. And then we jump right into Sarah's date. And Sarah is one of my favorites. I love her. Like, I mean, I'm kind of bummed that she didn't post about the insurrection of the Capitol, but you know, what do you expect from people like her? But okay, hello, Miso. He's been very much trying to be involved and showing him to the YouTube. Say hello, Miso. Oh my God, come on. Okay. Anyway, so all up on Sarah's date, she says that she is a more private person and will take more time to open up. And part of me is now wondering, I'm like, she's giving me Scorpio rising energy, just like these rest of these bitches. Not bitches, but you know. Just like all these other girls, because most of the confirmed charts we've had so far are Scorpio risings, because they have that Leo midheaven, just like Victoria. And Leo midheaven they seek the spotlight, right? They seek that public spotlight. But anyway, so Sarah is so she's more private, and they both immediately start talking about like missing their families and talking to them. Also, what is their date even? I don't even remember what it was. He says they're just like talking. they're not even like doing, I can't remember what they're,
Sarah
do you remember, did they have an activity on their date? I think they just like
they flew in the plane.
Out. Oh, that's right. They did the plane. They did the plane first. Obviously, they take the plane up and she's like latching onto him. And in there, it's like a tiny plane and they're screaming and whatever. But yeah, so afterward, they're all sitting and that's when she's talking about missing they both miss their families and they're both very close to their family. And he asks about like, or she talks about how, she's really close to her mom and then says that her dad's amazing and whatever. Oh, he's just like such a great person. And he's being very vague. And Matt's like she's not saying the ALS point yet. And Matt's all like, I feel like he says, I feel like I could tell Sarah is struggling with something. And so he says he wants it to work with Sarah very badly, but that he needs that information, something to get like else. And so Sarah opens up, then we get the next like portion of the date. Sarah then is when she opens up about her dad. And this is, I literally wrote, and spews endless Virgo moon stuff. So she's a Virgo moon and Virgo is a sign often associated with health and service to others. Like literally a nurse is a perfect archetype of a Virgo. So it's very interesting to me that she says she's her mother, which is what was I saying earlier about sun and moon representing our mother and father. Her mother, the Virgo, so she's a Virgo moon and her mother was her father's caretaker. And now Sarah is starting to fill into that role and that she is always does things and helps him like brushing. He's like, so weird to do these things to my dad who was doing it to me. Like I brush his hair now and he did my hair when I was a kid and all these things. And she explains, what the disease is, talks about how it was what Stephen Hawking had. She, does the whole ALS moment, right? Yeah. And but she says she fully cares for her job. She left her job as a reporter to do this. And then Matt also Matt asks this question all the time. And I think that this is a very Sagittarius thing because Sagittarius generally want to just kind of know what to do, the right thing, not the wrong, like right. But sometimes Sagittarius are kind of like, never tell me what to do, but also tell me what to do and I will just do it. But he says, what can I do during this experience that I can show you that I'm the man you want to be with? And I was like, damn, Matt. Okay. I think that he really likes her, which
he most definitely does. I think that in itself, like, regardless of what we've seen on the show, I think that what we've seen on social media by the contestants is like maybe not a super accurate representation of who they are, but a more accurate representation than their portrayal on the actual show.
Yeah, I also think too, quarantine, everybody had something. Like everyone did something during quarantine that was really intense and everyone had a reflection, a realization. Everyone went through something and this is being filmed toward what we all thought kind of in September might be the end of quarantine. And so I think that they all kind of hit that point of like, I'm going to just be myself. Like I think Sarah is being very authentically herself, at least from what I see. She's giving us very for TRR. For the right reasons.
Oh, no, I think Sarah's fine. My not necessarily a qualm, but like my qualm was with Matt, where it's like I appreciate you wanting to be the right man for me. However, who are you?
Right? Like, who are you? I want to know who you. Yeah.
Like I appreciate this,
and he's not giving us anything.
Be on like a Sunday when you forget to put your face on, like. Who am I going to be dealing with? Like, that's who I care about.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about, like, what you're willing to do for me.
Yeah. But then she says, be as real as possible. It's not always going to be beautiful dates and plane rides and sunsets. Right. And he's like, great, I love that. And she's like, I'm comfortable with you. And I feel like there's something special. And he says, he essentially reassured her saying like, or he was reassured by her saying this story that she is like that he wants her or whatever.
Yeah.
Gives her the rose and then they kiss and she's like, I've never had a conversation like that ever. I feel so comfortable with him. And OMG, she's saying all of her Taurus Venus buzzwords. which are, I'm so comfy. I feel safe and comfortable to talk about myself with him. And Taurus Venus. It's funny too, because she's a Taurus Venus and he is a Libra Venus, and they're both Venus in domicile, both Venus signs in their home rulers. And I think that it's very interesting that their expressions of romance to each other. So I'm intrigued about them coming through. But I feel like Sarah's going to be one of those classic girls. Sarah reminds me a lot of Cassie from Colton season, the way that Cassie went about the season, which is very low key. Like Cassie was literally not even touching drama until it was like top 4, and she was only on it because she was on a 3-on-1 or whatever, and she kind of had to. But yeah, like she gives me that energy of like Cassie got a really early 1-on-1 date on Colton season and then just rode through chill, and then all of a sudden Colton's obsessed with her at the very end. And so it's very interesting. Yeah. So I wonder if Sarah might play a similar role, as just kind of coast through the season, vibe along, and then all of a sudden she wins. But we shall see.
Okay, because we'll talk about that when we get to previews for next week.
I
have some thoughts about Sarah's arc.
And now we get the cocktail party before the rose ceremony, which we thought we were going to get. I was so excited, Jess, that we almost got a full fucking episode. It was so close, but honestly, I'm okay with the way they ended it a little bit, because
I'm not.
I know, I don't like it.
I'm not. Okay, but so we have the cocktail party, and then we get some like brief one-on-one conversations where there's not really anything said, but we're kind of shown the fact that these women did indeed get a chance to speak to him. So we see him talk to Abigail, we see him talk to Rachel, we see him talk to Kit for like 5 fucking seconds.
Abigail does the cute, like Abigail has like, oh, let's do our signal of like ears talking to each other or whatever. And then this is when he says that she's one of the sweetest people I've ever met. And I'm like, yeah, Matt's not picking sweet.
Oh no, definitely. I don't think I don't want to say too good for him, but she is a different kind of person, I think. I don't think that they would actually gel well together. But then we get, okay, so I don't relate to Maggie. Maggie is a fucking goddess, and I am absolute shit compared to her. So I don't mean this like that. However, I relate to her in the sense that she turned around and told Matt that she would love to cook for him. And when he's like, well, what can I do? Like, I would want to help you. Like, how can I help you? She's like, just bring wine and make me laugh.
Me! That's literally me. I'm like, bring the booze, bring the weed, just like laugh with, like, don't help me.
Kitchen. Yeah.
Literally never.
Kitchen. Don't talk to me when I'm in the kitchen.
You won't be able to do anything.
Zone. Close all the doors, like lock myself in there. But if you bring the wine and we can like chit chat and like catch up and you tell some jokes, that's it. I will do all of the cooking if you bring the wine and you wash the dishes.
Yep. Oh, the dishes is cute. But yeah, I loved Maggie. I also thought one thing I'll say, you had Rachel this was a very nothing conversation, but I thought it was funny because of the Libra energy from both of them. She's a Libra sun and he's Libra Venus. She goes, I just feel like there's some connection without, and then he interrupts her and says, you see me locking eyes with you, huh? And these things, as in like, and I'm like, do you not? I just wonder.
Do you not make eye contact with anyone else?
Also, Rachel is getting progressively hotter. Like her looks are getting better. The first episode, I was like, she's fine. But now I'm like, oh, I see it. Because her Instagram, she's like such a baddie on her Instagram that I'm like, what are we doing with this sweet little girl look? And now I'm like into it. But whatever. Kit, yeah, it's comfortable how weird I feel. Or it's weird how comfortable I feel with you. A Taurus sun saying that also. Just like, the Taurus Venus, Sarah.
Predictable.
Yeah, Maggie. Oh, and then we get Marylynn talking to Matt. She says she goes, to be honest, I'm a little nervous. She says, it's been challenging for me. I'm nervous she said she was nervous that she wasn't on a date. And then she goes, I'm a little nervous. Just tell me, Matt, why am I here? And it was kind of like, ooh. That's her Capricorn rising speaking, because that gives her a Cancer 7th house. And the 7th house is what rules our relationships and marriages and partnerships, and she definitely came off as very Cancer made, like, tell me why I'm here. But he tells her that he remembered her favorite flower was an orchid, and then he pulls one out of nowhere in a vase, which literally looked like it was just on set somewhere, and they pulled it and put it in the corner. This was a very random moment.
So here's what I want to ask
it was
you.
Obviously to set Victoria off. Go ahead.
But here's what I want to ask you. Do you think that Matt genuinely said and went to a producer and was like, I would like to, like, Marylynn mentioned that her favorite flower is an orchid. I would like to just, like, if someone could grab some orchids or, like, find me some orchids to give her. Or do you think a producer presented him with that vase and was like, Marylynn likes orchids. You should give her this at some point and let her know you remember that her favorite flower is orchids. What do you think is more likely?
Definitely the second is more likely. However, it might be a combination of the two, where it's like, where he's kind of like, oh, I feel like all those girls that I wasn't on a date with, like maybe I should do something to make, like, should I say something to them better? Like the action of asking advice of like, what should I do about the girls who I wasn't on a date with?
Yeah. Okay.
And so then maybe they were like, oh, well, you could give them something. You could do this. Oh, remember, didn't Marylynn tell you her favorite flower was an orchid? What if we got you one and you did it? And he's like, okay, cool. I like that, because it was set there. Like, it was in the room. So I think
hidden behind the couch. So like,
so
it was placed there for a later date.
Right. It was planted, but
right.
I think it was definitely, I feel like, because I definitely think it was producer led, but I feel like Matt maybe had that one moment of like, what the fuck should I do something? Like, because again, I could be convinced that Matt is confused and doesn't know what to do during most of this. So
that'll just be the staple. That'll be the baseline moving forward. It's like,
well, I mean, he keeps asking everybody advice, like, relax, buddy, just do it. But so he gives her the orchid, and this is again to set Victoria off, because she takes it back, and then Victoria does my least favorite thing that literally anybody can do regardless of the chart, which is say, oh my God, orchids are my favorite flower too. And not in a way of trying to build camaraderie of like, oh my God, same. Like, it's more of a like, why didn't I get an orchid? I'm sorry, my Victoria imitation voice is really rude, but she just talks like that.
Accurate.
She talks like that.
I don't want to be rude either, but
yeah. And then Victoria says Marylynn is toxic.
All right.
And this is why. So now let's bring up the tea. So you said you sent me. It was a screenshot of a DM from the Mean Girl podcast. What was it?
Mean Reasons podcast.
Mean Reasons.
So
yeah.
The Mean Reasons podcast put a picture on their story of them. They had posted something about this conversation that Victoria had, and Victoria replied to their story, telling them that there was more to it. Like, there was more conversation that we didn't see. There was more things that happened. So that's all we know. And it's something that, like you said, you can go, it's on their story as of January 12th.
Yeah.
But it's Victoria responding to their story, letting them know that, like, that conversation did not happen as it aired. Shannon and I don't believe
and she's also talking about the conversation about there was more than that to the pick your brain part, that early conversation. So which for sure there is, which also I'm sure there is more to the I'm pick your brain moment.
Yeah, but not what she's implying.
Exactly what I think.
Like a whole other side to it, and I don't think that that's true.
She definitely is making it seem like Victoria, like, well, there's more, like, Marylynn was actually way meaner than that. Like, I just didn't say it right, or I just did that. I'm like, no, just because everyone's perceiving, like, like everyone's perceiving one thing and you're saying the only opposite, that it's girl, I don't know. And also it's really easy when you see shit like that to then be like, well, there was more to the story, to try to defend yourself. She's Cancer moon and Cancer Mars. Cancer Mars is the queen. I'm gonna say it. We are the queens of being like, but actually, like, I just did it. Like, we want to get defensive because Cancer wants to say that they want to prove that they didn't do any. I didn't do anything wrong, guys. Like, and so it can be very overwhelming and not great. And so the fact that she's out here just like, I'm fine. There's more. I promise. Like, honey, just apologize. Just say it. And I'm gonna get to that. Now we have Victoria telling on Marylynn to Matt, saying that Marylynn was rude, and then MJ defends Marylynn then to Victoria after that conversation. It says that she seems like she is she seems like she is so calm. Yeah. And she mentioned, hurtful things. Then we have Matt. Sorry, my notes are so chaotic at this point because I was just like freaking out.
I start my next paragraph the exact, in quotations, hurtful things you said to her, the women confirm. Literally the exact same way.
Yeah, so Matt said that to Marylynn. He's talking to Marylynn and says, she mentioned hurtful things he said to her. And Marylynn says, I was really confused because we had such a great conversation, her and Matt. And they, honestly, I feel like Marylynn probably defended herself better to Matt, but it was cut out because we didn't know we weren't getting the drama of Victoria and Marylynn and the roommate thing. And so, because that's also what Victoria told Matt, that they were roommates, but they're not anymore because Marylynn is just so hard to live with. And which Marylynn, and
I mean, so this whole situation irked the fuck out of me. And I guess it's because we just came off of Tayshia's season and we just less than a month ago watched Tayshia be incredibly direct and brought two men together. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, let's spill the tea right here and let's clear the air. And it was maybe not Matt's style, which is shocking to me. But like, I'm surprised that Matt didn't just be like, can anyone confirm or deny this story? And we see that all the women would have had Marylynn's back. Every single woman, even the people that we see in the earlier in the episode, like hugging Victoria when they were celebrating the paint war thing, like everyone would have backed Marylynn. And Matt's reaction read as like not what he wanted to do, but what he thought he should do.
Yeah, Matt really, I think, fumbled this, but also because Matt, I'll say this as a self-drag to Sagittarius, is we are fucking gullible. And generally we want to believe like what we want to believe. So whatever Victoria was smart with Matt in that she gave much more what we see and think of and what Matt perceived as direct information. She said this, she did this, she did this, she said this. Marylynn didn't say anything like that. She didn't defend her actions. She just was, at least from what we saw, what we were given, she did not defend herself really. And so she didn't come off in that way, but more of as a confused, like, well, Matt, I thought we were getting along, which true. And because again, she's trying to pull the focus to Matt and not on Victoria. And
also, we know from being the viewer that these things didn't really happen. We didn't see the conversation, but we gather from the way that Marylynn acted in front of the other women that these things did not happen exactly as Victoria is saying them, right? And it wouldn't be terribly shocking because I know I've been in a situation where I've been confronted about something that I knew the conflict existed, but I was so far removed from the conflict that when you're questioning me about specifics, I have no other choice but to play dumb because I actually don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah.
So Marylynn like couldn't even defend herself because she's like, I have no idea what Victoria could have told you.
Because it's really hard whenever you're going up against someone like Victoria because she will be that manipulative voice. Like she will be the one to twist your words. So anything you say that is actually real will sound twisted because of the way Victoria and people like her manipulate the situation. And so she does. So Marylynn's like, she says she wasn't here for drama. I'm not the type of person who will spite anyone. And that I believe 100%. And her chart like that, like there's things that I'm listening and like all these quotes that I listed of Marylynn, I was like, all right, I'm with you on this, girl. She says, and then this is when all of the women are defending Marylynn, and then this is when they're all getting annoyed. Like, she's jeopardizing my time with you. And that's what Marylynn says to Matt. And then she says, what can I do to tell you I'm telling you the honest truth? And like, that is the same language that Matt says to all these other women. What can I do? What can I do? It's like, I hope that he would fucking respond to that, right? Like when she's like, what can I do to show you that this is the truth? And then this next interaction, the Marylynn and Victoria conversation showed the truth of it all. Like, you don't need to know about what happened just by seeing this conversation. And this is the conversation that I was losing my goddamn mind on because this is exactly how I argue with my mother. I sit down and I say, she says to Victoria, first of all, she tries to sit next to Victoria on a couch because Marylynn has a very soft-spoken voice. Most Virgos do. And she's trying to sit next to him, and Victoria's like, no, I'll sit over here. I don't want to sit next to you. And she made a point to mention that twice or 2 or 3 times that she did not want to sit next to Marylynn. And Marylynn was trying to just sit next to her to be like, let me fucking talk to you. And because it was loud, you could hear all of the noise in the background. And yeah, I'm not going to go outside. It's freezing, Marylynn.
And also, like, we know this because this is something that players do to make a connection with the Bachelor or the Bachelorette. Like, physical contact is always a really good way to establish intimacy. And you can tell that Marylynn's just trying to, like, close the gap. And Marylynn's just trying to communicate in a way where, like, no matter what she's saying, she wants to make sure there's, like, an avenue where Victoria feels heard or, like, comforted. And Victoria's just like,
no, and that's another defense tactic, because you want to know why?
Tell me why. Further
away means you have to raise your voice more, especially in a crowded space that echoes. And Victoria wants to be the loudest one. She doesn't want to be she thinks she's the right one, but she's being loud, also not right. But you know what I mean? Like, and it's that argument tactic of like, well, I can still yell at you if I'm not right in your face. Anyway, so plus also I bet too, well, can I sit right next to you so we can talk? That also just triggers in your mind of 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart.
Oh my God, yeah.
But sorry, I just have a weird piece of phlegm that's just hanging out. I got over my weird strep throat last week, so it's just like hanging out. Anyway, this is when Marylynn says, I'm just going to speak my heart to you. And she says, I'm sorry that I hurt your feelings. Point blank. She says it right there. And I immediately was like, yes. Because this is how I argue with my Capricorn mother. Or when I've gone to the argument part, I'll say, I'm sorry I've hurt your feelings. You feel this way, and I acknowledge that you feel this way. Matt said you think I'm toxic and manipulative. And like, is literally, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings, and your feelings are valid, and I understand that you feel them. Which is exactly how you should fucking respond, even when you disagree. Like, Marylynn did the exact, again, new moon baby. She put her emotions right out and was like, this is what I'm sorry that I hurt your feelings with what I said. And because again, no matter if you meant to fucking say it or not, you know, whatever it was, even if you think you're not, like, I don't think the pick your brain apart, whatever, is that bad. But anyway, that's what we get. And then, but in the conversation, or in the apology, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. You feel this way. She gets interrupted. Victoria immediately interrupts her and I didn't exact that the first interruption, but she immediately interrupts her. It's like, whatever, you're not sorry. Like, she's not looking
off at every single turn.
Every and this
sentence that Marylynn tries to say, Victoria chops her off at the fucking knees and is like, nope.
And this is where I was feeling the most triggered, because every time I try to have level-headed, and my mom, for context, y'all, my mom's been sinking into Trump conspiracy bullshit and COVID. Everything. Like, if she wasn't afraid of crowds and shit, she would have been at the Capitol. Nah, who knows? But that level, that's where my mom's at. And so I've had these arguments with her all year long, and I will have to come to her at times to be like, hey, I'm sorry that you think I hurt you. Like, I'm sorry, your feelings were hurt, but I'm trying to just tell you what I feel or what I think. Blah, blah, blah. But it's the constant interruptions, because they don't want to hear you. They want to argue. They do not want a solution. Victoria does not want a solution with her and Marylynn. She wants to win. She wants Marylynn to go home. She wants to, quote unquote, win. And it's very frustrating to watch, because Marylynn is trying, not only that, Marylynn is back to therapy. Marylynn has either been to therapy, read about a lot of, she knows the tactics, because she is literally trying to be like, I'm just trying to understand where you're coming from.
She's using the proper verbiage. Like, she's using the things that you would say.
Yep. She says, she goes, Matt thinks you said I'm toxic and manipulative. And Victoria, I do think you are those things. Like, okay. And then Marylynn tries to say very calmly that she thinks that they can come to an understanding. Well, I'm sure we can find an understanding here. And Victoria says, I don't think we can. And then storms off and says that Marylynn is being too much.
I love that at one point or another in the argument or in this conversation, whatever you want to call it, Victoria says, like, I'm not trying to fight either. And it's like, yes, you are. I made a note in quotations. I'm not trying to fight either.
Dumb bitch.
Yes, you are. You are actively, if you weren't trying to fight, then this conversation would not be happening. This conversation taking place is just like straight proof that you do indeed want to argue.
Yep. It's literally, sorry, my headphones died in the middle of that, so I had to, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, I had to switch off, so everybody who's watching YouTube get to see my sexy old school. But yeah, so Victoria.
And then this is when I noticed the bra.
Oh, well, it's because this is when she walks away from Marylynn, and her bra is black and white, and
she's wearing this horrific dress to begin
with. It's for sure. Well, what's unfortunate about this dress for me is that it is horrific. It could have been pulled off better, but she did not pull it off. Like, it's not it was a vintage dress for sure. Like, she got it, like, it had huge puffed sleeves. It was short. It was a vintage, like, 80s type style dress, cocktail dress, which I'm all for.
Been pulled off, but not styled the way she styled it, especially
she did not. Yeah, like that for sure. First of all, she is definitely the kind of girl who thinks she can't ever wear a bra, or she has to always wear a bra. You can already tell that she's insecure about her body by the way she said that wedding dress thing to Matt. So, like, she's definitely wearing this bra because she thinks that she can't wear she can't go braless in a backless dress. And I'm like, girl, just go braless. That dress needed to be braless. That's why it looked awkward on the front of you.
I get the vibe that Victoria has, like, so you can tell that she has, like, bigger boobs. And I get the vibe that she's insecure about the way that they look and has maybe, like, one or two bras that in her mind fit her properly and will not deviate from those one or two
and bras. Hey, I get it. Capricorn Venus over here, and I do not like, I love to just wear the same stuff until it's done. Like, you know what I mean? Quality over quantity. But girl, at least wear a nude bra.
Something.
Why were you wearing? Because she walked away, and it was literally just the icing on the cake of all of it. I was like, oh my God. And of course she's wearing of course her bra, and it's
messy. She, like, behaved in a messy way. And
also
she walks away to see her disheveled, and you're like, oh, okay, so you are a mess.
And also, like, this is the other thing too, is we are in a fashion zone right now in 2021 where you can wear clothes that show your bra, like, you know what I mean? But this is not what that was, because first of all, the bra didn't match the outfit. So if you're going to show off the bra, it's got to at least look like it belongs. It had nothing to do, like, at least wear a cute bralette on the back, at least do something. Why did you just knocked the fucking trash can over next to me? I don't know where. And so anyway, it was just a moment of like, what the fuck, girl, really? You're in the bra. And so then all the women are starting to catch on to the bad energy, saying it's taking up way too much time with all the other women. And Chelsea says half the women haven't spoken to him yet. Everyone is super pissed. Kayla asks Victoria why she felt like telling about, she was like, why did you feel like telling Matt about the tension in the house was so important right now? And she was just like, I just think it needed to be known. Like, I don't remember what she said. I don't have it written down.
Basically that.
I think Chris interrupted them.
With her, like, she said, I at one point said, like, if this is the person that you're dating, like, don't you want to tell the person you're dating about what's going on?
Yes, that's right. You're right.
Don't you want to tell them about what's happening? And it's like, sure, but if your partner is up for, like, a big promotion at work the next day, you're not going to tell him about the petty business with the person you share a cubicle with the night before.
Yeah.
Or if he's got, like, a big presentation or what the fuck ever, like a big meeting, something, you're not going to stress him out with your petty shit when they have something, like, you weigh out. That's I mean, maybe I'm, like, reading too far into this, but for a show that's trying to figure out whether you guys can be partners and, like, be in a marriage together, it's like determining what takes precedent sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, sometimes your hardships can, like, wait a minute, and you can, like, be the rock, and you can, like, be the strong one and, like, put your petty shit to the side, you know? And Victoria just showed that she was not capable of doing that. Like, her beef with Marylynn was more important than Matt trying to find the love of his life. Like, girl.
It was very strange. It was all just so obnoxious. But then this is when Chris interrupts, and then boom, all the women nervous laugh because they know what that means, and it becomes just
the shortest rose ceremony ever.
Yeah, because and we get some roses out. Like some roses have made it. It's
Piper, Kit, Rachel, Chelsea, Jasenia, Katie, and then Serena C.
No, Maggie between it's Piper, Kit, Maggie, Rachel, Abigail, Chelsea, Jasenia, Katie, Serena C. And
how did I miss so many girls? Weird.
Because he did go fast. Also, I made a note that Matt's hands are shaking so much that the flower is literally shaking as he's holding it. But then Sarah is in. So this is when Sarah is in her like interview, and it's like the longer the Victoria's here, the more I question my relationship with Matt. Doing the classic like, well, why would he keep around to such a horrible villain? Because the producers are telling him to. But whatever. And then she's definitely like she falters off of the risers that they're on, and she definitely looks like she's about to pass out. She walks off. Someone is with her. Brie. It looked like one of the Brie. Bree's with her, and then she is with the producer, and the producer's like, just sit down right here. And then she sits on the floor, and she says she's gonna black out, or feels like she's gonna black out, and Matt runs over to talk to her or to see her. And that's where the episode ends, and the next promo looks fucking chaotic. I actually have no notes on it other than that it looks wild. And
the only note that I have about the promo is that it looks like they're setting Sarah up to be questioned about like, was that legit? Like, or were you trying to steal attention? I don't know. I don't think she was. I don't think that she's like that you know what's funny? But they're definitely setting her up to be. I mean, I do, but
see, I literally wrote, I was like, of course. In my notes, I was like, IFI, injury fear. Thank you, Game of Thrones. Injury, fear, illness. She literally, I think, so she's a Virgo moon. All right. What did I say about Virgos and health? Virgos are literally made to be hypochondriacs. And part of me does believe that this wasn't, so I think this wasn't done, like, I don't think she's faking it, but I think that it was brought on by her, like, own self. Like, she's just, and my other Val mentioned too when we were watching that she probably was locking her knees and stressed.
I'm sure she was.
And if you lock your knees, she was so tight. And if you are somebody, if you've been in theater or marching band or anything where you stand up straight for a very long time, you know that if you lock your knees for too long, you can pass out. So she was probably just locking her knees, and it rushed her, you know what I mean? That happened. But my thing is, like, she's interviewing, of course, she's saying, like, I'm just nervous about this with Matt and Victoria. Matt, I'm nervous. And yeah, I think that it was created in her mind. And I think, and this is after watching someone with a Virgo Venus and other Virgo placements over Christmas get all pouty. And this is a child, but she was getting pouty during opening Christmas presents because she thought that she wasn't going to get the one thing that she had really wanted, even though it was like the last gift she opened because it was a big gift. But she's sitting there and she goes, I'm tired. My throat hurts. And I remember being like sitting next to her in Florida, and she's like, girl, you cannot tell me your throat hurts right now because this is COVID. You need to know. So like, what? And then of course, by the time she opens her present, whatever, Olivia asked her, was like, were you just feeling bad because you didn't get what you wanted yet? And she was like, yeah, I think so. So I think that that's kind of what is happening with Sarah. Like, it was a created thing that happened, but I do think that it probably happened. Like, I don't think she's fucking faking it, but
so that's what my opinion on it is that, like, I think that she felt something. Do I think that she felt something and then acted quite dramatically? Like,
and knew that
I have someone in my life that if they stub their toe, where like a normal person would be like, oh fuck, and then just like move on with their day. I know someone who, when they stub their toe, without fail is, and it's just like so dramatic and so over the top. And do I think that is probably what Sarah was doing? Yes. Could she have stayed standing? Probably. Did she want to milk it and take advantage of the fact that, like, oh my God, I probably do need to sit down though? Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
And so I think too that she knew that like running over there, being apart from the whole thing, Matt would come talk to her and she would get to say, and Matt would be like, oh my God, I'm just so whatever. And yeah, no, it was brilliant for me. I was into it for Sarah. She is playing this game perfectly. She has seen the show. We know she's seen the show. She said she saw the show. She's a pro. She's a pro. And I am excited to see this next episode. I can't wait for everyone to come for her because I can't wait to defend her. And also, I can't wait to defend the fact that if she did do this and fake it, I can't wait to defend that as an amazing play.
It is.
Wow. Well, and yeah, then the outro of this episode was just Bree and Matt being clowns in the mud. So I see you've got the marker.
You know what time it is.
Yes. Dun, dun, dun.
It is time for us to guess Matt's moon and rising sign.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been keeping track. We have our preseason guess, our week 1 guess, and now we've got our week 2 guess. I am reverting back to my initial guess of a Leo rising, but I've switched over and I've given up the Sagittarius moon, and I'm guessing Scorpio moon, Leo rising.
All right. I like that guess. Bravo.
All right. What have you got?
All right. So I am keeping my Scorpio moon guess. I think that is being shown more time and time again, as he tells us nothing gives us nothing. Yeah.
That's what swayed my guess too, actually.
However, I am also reverting back to preseason. I think he's a Libra rising.
Okay. So
and
guesses.
I think that because the Libra rising would put his moon in 2nd, Sagittarius in the 3rd house. Yeah, I could see all that. But he the Venus on the ascendant is just feeling correct. Like it just feels right. Why the fuck there is so much honking outside right now at my door? I think it's car move time. That's why everyone's doing it. But anyway, so I think that's where I'm at because he just gives me so much Venus on the ascendant energy. Like he's just but we'll see. That. The rising sign is actually kind of hard for me right now. He's hard to peg on that, but we shall see as time passes. I'm ready.
I'm manifesting that we will in fact know.
I also am manifesting it somehow.
I think we'll know. We'll eventually get in touch with Matt James.
If you know Matt James personally and know his birth time, hook me up. Anyone got Matt James on CoStar?
Anybody.
Even though delete CoStar. But all right.
Okay. Follow us on Instagram at Do the Roses Align. You can follow.
And yeah. I'm Astrology Chef on Instagram and Twitter. I live on Twitter more than I live on Instagram. I'm gonna be honest.
If you want the amazing Shannon to do a chart reading, you can reach out to her via our website at www.dtrapod.com.
And I promise that I will be much more gentle when I read charts. When I'm looking at these people I don't know and I'm only given the information that I'm seeing, I'm gonna just have to attach it to something. But if I read your chart, I can find the whole story.
Yeah, she gets way more in depth. It's a totally different experience. So I personally can't recommend it enough.
Thank you.
But that's all I've got for today.
Yeah, that's it. That's it for me too. And I gotta go because I gotta get ready to fucking go.
You're going to work?
Oh no, I'm not going to work, but I have so much cleaning to do. You can't see around this right now, but like
all of the clutter is like
it's like literally the tables. All of the tables are disgusting. The floor, everything. My cat knocked over a plant. I got dirt all over the floor. Like it is a wreck.
Right,
and I also got to go get cat food for these motherfucking crazy asses. God, I hate them. But love ya. And thanks for listening to everybody. And also we'll be on YouTube for this episode. We've been recording on Zoom. Hey.
Oh, surprise. Yeah, here we are.
We'll see how that goes.
Moving forward, I think.
Let's hope.
Feeling about
it's fun. I like seeing you. Okay, bye, Miso.
All right.